It's been quite a start to Ryan Healy's big league career. Since the All-Star break, the University of Oregon product has started every day at third base and has provided some thrills for athletic fans. Healy's 6 home runs and 14 RBIs shows he can hit at the major league level, and his defense has shined, making some nice plays at the hot corner. The future of the A's has Healy in its plans, and he will continue to get better with every at-bat. Healy and the A's take on the Rangers coming up next. It's another beautiful night for baseball at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Rangers won last night. A's will try to even up the series at a game apiece. It's the A's and the Rangers coming up on CSN California. Hey again, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's baseball. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. What a great opportunity it has been for Ryan Healy, the young A's third baseman. Ray, he really has played well. He's got 6 home runs in 29 games, and he just has not looked overmatched at the big league level.
Kuiper, you're right. The day after the All-Star break, Bob Melvin said, you're going to be our third baseman. And what he has done really is shown that he belongs in the big leagues. At his first walk-off at the Coliseum, of course, those are special. He's really played complete baseball. He's hitting the ball well, as this home run on Sunday. Big home run last night. He's playing defense. He's doing everything that you would like to see in a young third baseman getting a chance to play. How about this play? A double twist, double turn at third base. But I think the most important thing, as he hit the home run last night, is that he knows every day he's going to be in the lineup. He's going to be hitting someplace and batting and playing third base. And if you have that experience, that opportunity, you're taking advantage of it, and he's doing that.
All right, from a rookie third baseman to a future Hall of Fame third baseman, right. Adrian Beltre. It seems like every time we do a game against the Rangers, we highlight Beltre because he'd done something great the night before. Well, that was the case last night at Grand Slam.
You know, the last time the A's have lost to the Rangers, it was because of this guy. He did it the last time here. The A's did win 2. This was a home run down the right field line against John Axford. Then Matz, of course, the walk-off in that particular game. So he did it late in the game. But last night, the fastball inside the Grand Slam. Remember, the Rangers had not scored in 21 innings, making 24, counting 3 last night. That all changed, and the big Grand Slam by Beltre helped the Rangers defeat the Athletics in the opener of the series. So he's been tough. Pitch around him. Might as well.
Idea.
Let somebody else do the jabbing.
432 career home runs for Adrian Beltre. Andrew Triggs, Lucas Harrell, that's your pitching matchup tonight for game 2 of this 3-game series on a nice night here in Arlington. We'll have lineups and first pitch when we come back. A's Rangers on CSN California, and it's all coming up.
Today's Baseball on CSN California is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Jack's Brewhouse Bacon Burger today at Jack in the Box. Limited time only at participating restaurants. By Toyota. Hurry in for Toyota's annual clearance event to get an incredible deal on the 2016 Toyota you want before they're gone. Toyota, let's go places. And by America's Tire. Your low-price journey starts here.
Welcome back to Globe Life Park in Arlington. Coco Crisp steps in the box. Lucas Harrell is ready, and we're not messing around tonight. First pitch of the game is a little bit low, so we're underway. Game 2 of the 3-game series. We'll get you the lineups in just a moment. Coco Crisp in the leadoff spot at .239 with 10 home runs, 46 RBIs, and the count is 1-1.
He gets that pitch, he's going to be good. That's a good sinker down away from Coco Crisp. Good low strike from Big Joe West, Cowboy Joe.
One poked foul, facing to the second level. Umpires, there is Joe West. He's the crew chief. Kerwin Daly's at first. Nick Lentz at second. Andy Fletcher's down at third. One and two the count to the A's leadoff man. Coco did not play last night. And there's Lucas Harrell. And that one into center field, and that's a base hit. So Coco Crisp has a single. Quick look at the game time weather. It's presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. Another nice night. It's 79 degrees. A little more breezy tonight than it was last night. And there's some dark clouds around, although it is not supposed to rain tonight. There is some rain expected tomorrow during the day. But a very comfortable night. It's actually just a nice warm breeze here at the ballpark. So here's Danny Valencia hitting in the second spot for the Athletics.
Well, Lucas Harrell pitched in a game last Thursday against the Rockies that they said was about 107 degrees temperature. First 2 innings he struggled, ended up going 6, which they said was probably very impressive considering the number of pitches he threw in the first 2 innings.
That one driven to right. Ryan Rua's not going to get it. Coco will speed around second, and he'll make it to third easily. And the A's have first and third, and nobody out. So you saw Crisp, you saw Valencia. Here's the rest of the A's lineup. There's the top 2 hitters, and then Vogt, Davis, Butler, Alonso, Simeon, Healy, and Muncy. That's your Athletic starting lineup.
And Lucas Harrell, the pitcher that the A's saw when he's with the Houston Astros, he is making the start tonight. He's been with Atlanta and now Texas, and 8 starts combined. The record of 3-2. Fastball that he'll throw predominantly most of the time. He does have a cutter that he'll throw along with his 2-4 seam fastball. Curveball, slider, and a changeup. And the A's need to do something they did last night, but add on. They scored early, but not after the second inning. That was it.
So Stephen Vogt, early RBI opportunity.
I think, as we have seen in this park, that if you get a lead, if you don't add on, Rangers feel they can come back and win.
No question.
And they feel they have the offense to do it, and they do. And they've done it against the A's a couple of times.
Five career starts in this ballpark, an ERA of 10 for Lucas Harrell.
If he did well after the second inning last Thursday in the 107-degree temperature, then A's need to try to get him as early as possible and then add on later.
So he got that Thursday game, huh?
Yes, he
did.
did.
They say it was the hottest game ever in this ballpark?
Yes. 107. Oof. Is that right, John? Were you here? 4 hours. Thanks, you, John. Glad we were in Oakland.
John is our stat man here in Arlington. Outside to Vogt, and it's a 4-pitch walk, and the A's have the bases loaded. Nobody out. Defensively for the Rangers tonight, Profar in left, Desmond in center, Rua just called up, he's in right. Beltre, Andrus, Odor, Moreland on the infield, and Robinson Chirinos is the catcher. There's all kinds of trouble for Lucas Harrell here in the top of the first. Jeff Bannister and his Texas Rangers with a 5.5 game lead over the Mariners in the AL West, so they're sitting pretty good. First pitch to Chris Davis, a line drive into the glove of Andrus. The throw to second not in time. So Davis hit a screaming line drive right at the shortstop.
Well, after 4-pitch walk, he goes after the first one, hit it hard, but slicing, actually hooking, but Andrus able to handle it as they were playing back for a double play and almost got one anyway. But fortunately, Valencia getting back safely with a line drive in front of him.
So 1 out, and here's Billy Butler. He's need to get something out of this. Almost like in this ballpark, like you were just talking about, if you miss opportunities to score, because this is an offensive park and the Rangers are good offensive, it almost hurts more.
Absolutely. No, you're right. And you do have these opportunities, and unfortunately, we've seen too much where it's situational baseball. Of course, bases loaded, it's making contact, get the ball through the infield, into the outfield, and try to keep adding on. Of course, one long big swing is good, as Beltre proved last night with a grand slam, but just want to try to keep it going.
And sometimes you don't catch a break, like Chris Davis's line drive. Billy Butler last night was 1 for 4 with an RBI. Popped up down the right field line. Odor and Rua, and it drops foul.
Thank you, Wind.
Yeah, I was going to say, it really looked like the wind was pushing that, and it just kept pushing it. And Odor ended up going into a slide along that brick wall.
Well, the flag's high above the scoreboard in right field, and they are up high, but they are really blowing hard from right center and blowing this ball, which looked like it was going to be caught right there, and then just kept going, and Odor had to go to the slide to avoid running into the sidewall. So the Wind definitely took it, but it's strike 2. Texas flag blowing strongly. The stadium is high, and what we have found out, the jet stream in right center is no longer there because of the opening underneath the press box area. It's been about 3 years, and so what at one time, there it is back underneath. Now the wind blows in from right field. It blows right straight through, so it doesn't hit the back of the stadium and blowing out to right field. No more jet stream right center of the bullpen of the Rangers.
Toward third, Beltre has it. He's going to step on third, throw to first, double play. Rangers turned 3 double plays last night. They turn a big one here in the first tonight, and the A's do not score. And here come the Texas Rangers. Profar's going to lead off, and Desmond. Beltran will DH tonight. Beltre's at third. Odor, Moreland, Andrus, Rua, and Chirinos.
And Andrew Triggs gets his third major league start tonight, as he will be facing the Rangers for the first time as a starting pitcher. 0-1 as he pitched the fourth inning, as we mentioned, against the Angels. Gave up a home run to Trout, exited the game. Last start, though, that a little bit different. He pitched the fourth inning, gave up 3, ended up picking up the loss. But Andrew Triggs, as he faced the Orioles on Thursday, and Tillman, they figured the Orioles were going to score some runs, and they just decided to do it when Triggs was on the mound. The A's should have scored runs in the top of the first. They did not.
First pitch to Profar is a strike. And Triggs retired the first 7 batters in that start on Thursday, but then the Orioles got serious. Simeon backhands over the top, dug out by Alonso, 1 out. A nice play on both ends. The A's defense tonight has Davis, Crispin, Valencia in the outfield. Healy, Simeon, Muncy, Alonso on the infield, with Vogt doing the catching.
You know, Kai, one of the hard things for a relief pitcher to be put in the rotation is how do you prepare? What do you do? And I thought it was rather interesting. Triggs was completely dressed at about 4 o'clock. You know, they're usually just hanging around on their phones, listening to music, doing something, headphones on. But Triggs knows that he's not going to make a lot of starts, getting the start tonight as he did against the Orioles and the Angels, but he could be back in the bullpen by the time his next start would come up.
Well, he threw 66 pitches on Thursday.
Well, he got used to that. Remember the game in Houston that Jesse Hahn went just 2/3 of an inning? And Triggs came in 4+ innings in that game, got up about 79 pitches.
Yep.
And then, of course, unfortunately got a trip to Nashville.
Good slider there, and Desmond is gone quickly, 2 outs.
Time now for the keys to the game, and for these young players, the experience. And we've talked about it, but this is a good experience for players like Ryan Healy, who we featured in our open. He's playing defense and swinging the bat well. And so nothing against Andrew Triggs. It's simply that if he does not pitch beyond the 3rd or 4th inning, the bullpen has to be ready to come in early. And Triggs will not pace himself. He will just, he's pitching out of the stretch. So that tells you a lot right there in the starting rotation. There's only one guy, probably Yu Darvish, who pitches tomorrow night, does that as well. But Triggs knows that he really is limited as far as he can pitch in the game. So that's why the bullpen, which will be ready more than likely sooner than later.
0-1 the count to Carlos Beltran. 302 his average, 24 home runs and 69 RBI. So very fine season for Beltran.
Well, his resume, and we talked about it last night, Cap, and we've talked about it when he played for the Yankees, that you have a resume where you're a big-time player late in the season, the postseason. Then your contract is expiring. Teams that are in contention want to have your services, and you get a veteran who, along with Adrian Beltre, so Beltran and Beltre hitting back-to-back in the order tonight. It says a lot about the experience on this club. There they are. Rookie of the Year, Gold Glove winner, All-Star 9 times.
Well, he's 38 years old. This is his 18th year, and in all honesty, Ray, I mean, you know, 10 years ago he was a base stealer, and his outfield play not as anymore. But as far as a hitter, he doesn't look a whole lot different than he did.
No, he's still got a very quick bat.
I mean, he could DH for a couple more years. That one hit hard. Diving attempt by Simeon, but it's a base hit. Beltran with a 2-out single.
Yeah, the ball did hit the mound. Beltran, hard swing up the middle, had the shift with Simeon playing behind, but it hit the mound, popped straight up, and top spin once it hit the mound and took off as Simeon at the top of your screen as he made a diving effort to his left, but the ball was past him quickly. But for Carlos Beltran, his hands and his wrist, everything's so quick.
allows him really just to swing as effectively as he has throughout his career, but even at his age that he is now, still hits like a young player.
First pitch to Beltre is in first strike. Yep, bat speed is still there. Bat speed's there for this guy too.
Oof.
$19 homers and 77 RBIs. Sweeping slider way off the plate. That one is lined into the net right above the Rangers dugout.
Well, he took a 2-0 changeup, hit a 2-1 fastball, his 10th career grand slam, and no doubter. And that was a 4-run inning, and it all started after Sin-Chu was hit, and he is out for the remainder of the year. He's going to have surgery. So there they are, most home runs against the A's, 36 in his career. That's a whole bunch of home runs against one team.
Top two guys hit a lot of those in a Rangers uniform against the A's.
Well, the top five, Kipe, will not hit anymore because Alex is retired. Palmeiro and Evans and Ramirez are retired. Teixeira after this year, and the A's are finished with the Yankees. So all he needs, well, we don't say it. He probably, with the contract extension that he got, he's going to hit a few more against everybody.
Healy has it. He'll throw to second in time. Side retired. So hitting a runner left. Andrew Trigg says good first inning. Second inning coming up, no score. California is brought to you by AAA. Get a free A's cap with a new AAA membership. Visit a participating AAA branch by August 30th. Restrictions apply. No score, top of the second inning. You see those dark clouds above Globe Life Park here in Arlington. That one is dribbled up the first base line. About as easy of a play as Mitch Moreland's going to have. As he picks it up, steps on the bag, one out. So Yonder Alonso sees just one pitch, and that'll bring up Marcus Semien.
So you're a weather forecaster. Can you say anything in those clouds, or are we just?
I'm not. It just
looks bad.
Yeah, they're just dark, but they're moving quickly.
Well, they just move out of the area.
Yeah. .242 for Semien, 23 home runs and 54 RBIs. First pitch is a strike. He's had a golden opportunity in the first inning. Bases loaded, nobody out. Bad break. Chris Davis hits a line shot right to the shortstop. And then Billy Butler hit into the 5-3 double play.
Had to give a pitcher a second life,
Yeah,
won't it?
that's true.
I mean, you have one pitcher in Andrew Triggs thinking he's going to go out with a lead. You have another pitcher in Harrell thinking he's going to have several runs scored against him. So zeros for both of them. Triggs got through the first inning very nicely.
Well, the Rangers, the double play they turned in the first inning, double play number 156 on the year, and that is by far the most in all the major leagues.
Well, the pitcher
last 156 double
amazing.
plays turned, and this is game number 121.
Pitchers are bad. They put a lot of base runners on. But the pitcher last night has 33 of them. Martin Perez had 31 going into the game. Ended up with a couple more. And Dyson won in the 9th inning. So there's 3 last night, 1 tonight already.
Hit high and foul. And this is the missed opportunities last night thanks to the double plays.
Now for the A's last night, after the first 2 innings, they recorded 3 hits. All 3 eliminated with double plays. So it really did nothing after the first 2 innings last night. Perez with a great changeup and sinker ball.
Well, there's a lot of different reasons for leading the league in double plays turn. That one was ripped toward left field. Profar dives and he caught it. Another hard hit ball, but a nice play by Jurickson Profar in left field.
Lucas Harrell is living a dream because he's playing over or way off the line. And we have seen some outfielders where they bunch towards the middle, and this helped Profar, as that is a double in most cases. But he was shading more over in left center, dived, left his feet, came up with it, and the infielder turned outfielder, has done a very good job and made a very nice play, saving extra bases.
So 2 outs for Healy.
Just have to get used to that bigger glove.
Yeah.
Plays middle infield at about a half the size of the glove.
First pitch is a strike. So the Rangers 12th in team ERA this year. So it's not a great number. So they're putting some base runners on. But their pitchers have the fewest strikeouts in the American League. So if you add that all up, lots of base runners, not a lot of strikeouts for the pitchers, you're going to have a lot of double play opportunities, and they have a very good infield. So Ryan Healy with a base hit.
How about hanging curveball, and he was all over it. And from Harrell's standpoint, he's happy because it was a ground ball. No chance for the Gold Glover at third to track it down. Ball snaking in the outfield. That's a problem. The outfield with the ball on the ground, it's going to snake a little bit with the way the outfield grass is cut.
So here's Muncy. Popped up foul. Couple of home runs, 4 RBIs for Max Muncy, playing second base tonight. It's his 10th start at second base. Healy with the short lead at first, but Harrell will check on him. These are 52 and 67 on the year. Trying to turn things around in a little bit of a scuffle right now. They've lost 4 out of their last 5.
And probably all season, the word consistency has been an issue with the A's from the team record standpoint. Win a bunch in a row and then give it right back, losing them in same way. Bob Melvin would love to have had some of the winning streaks continue, maybe lose one and then start another streak, but did not happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. They've had some small winning streaks, where maybe 4 or 5 in a row. But you're right, they could not extend those stretches for 2 or 3 weeks. That's what happens when you get the record you get.
Well, and a lot of it too with young players, and we've talked about that, where you have young players, and while this is a great experience, and as we were talking after the game last night, we hope that what the A's are doing now is gaining experience and will help them in the future, because there are so many young players, and when you're playing the first place teams in meaningful games the remainder of the season, you hope that as their careers progress that they will remember these times, and as they start to get better and play better, they'll remember these times and continue to play well. It's easy to play when you're losing. Yeah. It's when you're leading a division, or you're playing well enough that you're fighting for a division. That's when things change considerably.
First pitch to Coco is a big overhand curve. That's low. Coco, 458 is his batting average with runners in scoring position. Still the best in the major league. So the A's have the right man up. And now 2-0.
A little bit similar with tonight's starting pitchers, and Jeff Bannister, the manager. Derek Holland's name has come up as he's on a rehab assignment, although he struggled a little bit last night, but he's in line to have this spot when it comes up again. It's just a question. And for Lucas Harrell, who was brought in because of the injuries to several of the starting pitchers and pitchers in general, but getting a start, and you just pitch as well as you can. Triggs will go back to bullpen, and there's a possibility that if Holland does come back, Lucas Harrell could also be a long man of the bullpen.
So 2-1 the count to Coco Crisp. Healy at second, Muncy at first. Just missed. 3-1. Harrell's not missing by a lot.
A lot of hitters have been swinging to that changeup. It's 2-1, a good one floating away, but Coco has a very short, if any, stride, which enables him to see the ball a long time.
And he walked him. So now the A's again have the bases loaded.
Follow Athletics Baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment, any moment, with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball, on your phone and your tablet. This inning started with a broken bat, little dribbler to first. A line drive on the Simeon's ball was caught by Profar, and now trouble continues a little bit more for Harrell. A couple of runners on base. Make it bases loaded again for the A's.
So this time bases are loaded with 2 outs. Valencia had a base hit in the first. First pitch is outside. So another opportunity for the Athletics.
And again, the outfield bunching a little bit towards the middle. See where Profar in left field. Normally, with that angle, that camera angle, you don't see the left fielder, but you could see all the outfielders with the high home camera shot, and that's a little bit unusual. A lot of area down the left field line for sure. Right field not as much, but still plenty.
Lucas Harrell, after he threw that pitch, he popped off the mound a little bit.
Yeah, his left foot slipped and lost his balance. Could only be an injury appearance next, because Roquel's already gone out.
Yeah, he's going to try to give himself a little time. He's thrown 25 pitches in this inning alone, 41 overall.
And Roquel talking to the trainer about, did you see something?
Missed again, and now it's 3-0.
Yeah, he fell off again, Kev, so maybe a little bit more. Seemed to be limping a little bit as he goes back to the mound.
So they will check on him with the trainer.
Well, as he follows through, everything is fine, but when he follows through, he a little giddy up in his step, and it's almost like there's a slight limp as he goes back, and even earlier in the inning. Well, it is a count of 3-0. And you know who likes the green light? The guy at the plate.
Jeff Bannister has that look like, really? Come on.
What do you think, Joe? What do you think I should do? Well, Skip, it's hot out here.
He's going to try it again.
You got the whole infield. You got a manager, pitching coach, trainer, and home plate umpire, crew chief watching. Oh, I'm sorry. Adrian Beltre would rather talk to Healy over at third because he didn't move. So Danny Valencia, he probably will not even look. There you go. Swung. That's a great stat. Thank you. Okay. Swung is 7 of 19 3-0 pitches. 600, 3 for 5 with 1 home run. And I would think if the pitcher is throwing 3 to 4 tosses to see how he's feeling, don't look for too much. Just look for something in the middle of the plate.
And that one, a little sinker, and it's a strike. So 3-1 the count. Healy at third, Muncy at second, Crisp at first. That one's outside, and Harrell walks in a run. So Valencia will get an RBI. His 42nd of the year as Healy scores, and the A's lead 1-0.
So there's the key. Don't do anything with nobody out. Do it with 2 outs. Because the A's in this inning, 2 outs, and it's the 4th walk. Now Stephen Vogt just needs a big hit.
$15 balls, 12 strikes in this inning alone. First pitch to Vogt is outside.
Well, so far give A's hitters credit because they're not offering at some of the sinkers or the changeups from this right-hander.
In there, first strike. There's the changeup, 81 miles an hour.
Quick pitch on the changeup that time.
So there is action now out in the Rangers bullpen. And this one's hit high in the air to center. Playable for Desmond. And that will do it. So the A's get 1 run on the bases loaded walk. Bottom of the second coming up. A's 1, Rangers 0. Coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. This just in. Jed Lowry is finished for this 2016 season. He's going to have a season-ending surgery on his toe. He's been on the disabled list since the 5th of August. So Lowry plays in 87 games. Remember, he has a contract through next year, so he will be back. But it sounded like there was a fair amount of damage in there. Also some ligament damage.
Yeah, yeah, that's the bad part. I mean, the bunion, yes, but you have the ligament damage. That makes it even worse. Let's hope he gets through it quickly, and said it's about a 3-month process of rehabbing.
I saw Jed Lowry walking to his car the other night, and he a little bit of a limp going, and this has been obviously bothering him for quite a while. So get it fixed.
Yeah, give him a lot of credit because he played.
He did. Yeah.
Tried to play through it, and batting average suffered. So give him a lot of credit for that. There's your new pitcher coming in. Alex Claudio will be coming in to pitch the third because Lucas Harrow barely made it off the mound into the dugout.
Odor, Moreland, and Andrews against Andrew Triggs, who gave up a single in the first, also had a strikeout. Swing and a miss. Good tailing action on that pitch. Odor leads the Rangers in home runs with 22. And this one's in the air to left. Davis moves back. Odor is out. So 1 out here in the bottom of the 2nd inning, and that'll bring up Mitch Moreland. Mentioned Shin-Soo Choo having a plate put in his forearm after being hit in last night's game. So the beginning of the season plans for the Rangers, you think you're going to have Choo and you think you're going to have Prince Fielder, and you don't have either. So 4th time on the DL this year, but this one may keep him out for the rest of the year. So that's unfortunate for Shin-Soo Choo.
Well, they pretty much say the regular season's finished. It's just a question of how quickly he could come back if he's healthy and be able to play in postseason if they make it, and that would be very hard to do.
Moreland bounces one towards second. Muncy has it, and that is the 2nd out. So this is Choo getting hit, and watch the left forearm down by the wrist. That is exactly where it hit him. And he did not move. He went down to one knee and he just held his wrist just like that. When you see that, that's not good. I saw Stephen Vogt today and I asked him, did you know? I mean, could you tell? I mean, did you know? Of course he didn't know, but catcher usually knows if it's a pretty direct hit. He said, yeah, when I saw him stay down for a long time and not move that wrist and kind of hold it with his other hand, he said, then I had a feeling that it was probably not going to be good. Fair ball. Healy steps over the bag, throws high, and Alonso got his foot down just before Andrews touches the bag, and that will do it for the Rangers. See if the Rangers want to take a look. They're checking it.
Yeah, Jeff Bannister's up on the step, and he says, let's play baseball. I think because he's supposed to stay up there if there's a challenge. But Alonso got it done. That's a good play by Alonso.
So that's how the bottom of the 2nd ends. We're going to the 3rd. The A's 1 and the Rangers nothing.
relive the 30th anniversary of Jose Canseco's historic 1986 season with the Jose Canseco Rookie of the Year bobblehead. It's presented by Kelly Moore Paints. At the A's versus Red Sox game on Saturday, September the 3rd, 15,000 fans will take home this Bash Brother bobblehead featuring one of the greatest sluggers in franchise history. Get your tickets now at athletics.com/tickets. Red Sox in town. Big Papi's final time at the Coliseum, assuming he does retire at the end of the season. David Ortiz will be making his final tour, the only trip the Red Sox make to the Coliseum in 2016. As Alex Claudio, not surprisingly, takes over in the 3rd inning for starting pitcher Lucas Harrell.
So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. It's your oil change, tune-up, and brake expert. So the lefty Claudio comes in. Lucas Harrell goes 2 innings, 3 hits, a run, and the 4 walks.
And he had to go 5 to qualify for a win, but he leaves after 2, and he's the pitcher of record by giving up the 1 run. So Claudio, a bullpen game really for the Rangers now from the 2nd or the 3rd inning on, and we'll see what happens with Andrew Triggs. Claudio's 5th appearance against the A's. 4 previous, he gave up a total of 4 hits, a couple of runs.
Davis drives one toward right center. That's hit well, and that one is off the wall. Desmond gets to it quickly, fires it back in. Davis has a leadoff double.
And there's a perfect example, probably of the jet stream that's no longer there. That ball hit off the wall. In the past, that might have been a home run. Of course, Chris Davis does hit everything so hard. He got the changeup. That's him providing his own power on the changeup. But just unbelievable power. The ball just took off to right center. Nobody's going to catch it. How far would it go? 3/4 the way up the wall.
So hit number 4 for the A's, and here's Billy Butler. Butler hits it hard. Odor stays with it. But a productive out for Butler as Davis gets over to 3rd.
Well, you like to see that. And sometimes they say, well, the American League is going to need more than a couple of runs, but maybe not either. So you have to play fundamentally sound baseball. You do the little things to help try to get a run, see what the Rangers infield does. And Yonder Alonso will try to get him in after Billy Butler gave himself up to get the runner to 3rd.
Alonso grounded out in the 1st inning. So the infield comes in for the Rangers. And the first pitch stays inside.
Claudio is not overpowering, but very deceptive in his delivery. A lot of change-ups, sinkers, fastball with top out in the upper 80s.
Swing and a miss. Alonso pulled off that one a little bit.
Drop down. Stephen Vogt got him last year, but Yonder Alonso opened him up just a little bit. Kipe, thanks to you, you helped me remember.
What did I help you
Oliver
remember?
Perez. This is the kind of a little funky delivery of Perez, who does all of these things before he sets himself in the position. I couldn't remember his name, but you came up with it immediately.
Oliver Perez is still out there pitching.
Well, he does everything, but then drops down and throws the sinker down and in. Throws a very good changeup, the one that Chris Davis hit hard to right center.
So 1-2.
You hear right groin strain? Is that what they said
for Lucas Harrell?
Don't have to worry about his next start.
So right groin strain for Harrell, and he's gone after 2 innings.
Yeah. That's a tough injury.
Alonso lays off that off-speed pitch at 74 miles an hour.
Remember, Rich Hill had a groin injury that put him on the disabled list. For a pitcher, you start dealing with leg injuries and groin, hamstring, calf injuries. Makes it tough to do your job.
Bounce foul. Rich Hill has not figured out that blister thing
that?
either. He still has not pitched for the Dodgers, and there's no timetable or date set for him to pitch.
Well, for Alonso, the left-handed hitter, against Claudio, who's dropping down, left field looks awfully inviting. That way you keep the right shoulder tucked in. You don't open up too much. And just think opposite field will react on a pitch inside.
Got him swinging. Almost looked like he threw that pitch just like a slider, but maybe threw a little harder. Maybe
straighten it out a little bit.
Yeah. But gets a big strikeout.
That is big, and unfortunately for the A's, that's the bases loaded in the first inning. Couldn't score. Runner at third this inning, and at this point, not able to get him in. So A's are 0 for 3. Actually, it's the 4th time with a runner at third in less than 2 outs, and they've yet to get one in.
So it's up to Marcus Semien. Everybody moves back defensively. Semien hit a drive toward left center that Profar made a diving catch on.
See, he's not playing the same place now. Against this left-hander. That was a right-hander Harrow, but he's way over to play him to pull. If he hits the same ball now, it will be in the gap, but it is a different type of pitcher.
Last night the Rangers used Matt Bush for an inning, Sam Dyson for an inning. So their bullpen should be fairly well rested. And now 3-0. Ryan Healy would be next. Misses badly, and it's a 4-pitch walk to Semien.
Just see how far Trinos was set outside on the 3-0. It's almost as if he thought he's going to be swinging. He did not want to give him a chance. Ryan Healy last night on a fastball inside from Martin Perez. And this is the last time that Jonathan Lucroy went inside with Perez the rest of the night. Went 7 innings. And Ryan Healy turned on it, his 6th home run, and a no-doubter. He makes contact. It is solidly done, and using the ball jumps off his bat. Now against this pitcher, he's got to stay back and not be too anxious.
Healy also had a single in last night's game. So now 3 hits in this series. First pitch misses outside. That one at the knees. First strike, 69 miles an hour.
Been back-to-back changeups from the left-hander. Chirinos giving signs as what he's going to do with first and third. I think a lot of times you see this happening where they do not want a team to maybe try to steal a run. Start the runner from first base, get on a run down. The catcher throws through. The runner at third can come in to score. All this because of 2 outs.
Tap to the right of the mound. Claudio to first side, retired. So the A's had a leadoff double. They do not score. We're headed to the bottom of the 3rd. A's 1, Rangers nothing.
You're teaming up to give 1st through 8th grade students the chance to earn 2 free tickets to an A's game with the A's Mathletics Workbook program, which engages students to solve baseball-related equations. For more information, visit athletics.com/mathletics. Free tickets to a game. That would be great. Just for maybe adding 2 and 2.
Yeah.
It's 4. That's about it.
Last time I checked.
But if you go trig and all that other stuff, so a lot of credit to those kids in the Mathletics program.
Bottom of the 3rd, the A's with a 1-0 lead. It'll be Rua, Chirinos, Profar. Driggs with 27 pitches now.
Hey, he's had a lot of time in between innings to sit in the dugout, and maybe that's good considering a warmer night. Stephen Vogt asked him after BP, and he said it's a little bit more humid. He said last night couldn't have been a more perfect night. Catchers will always figure that out. You're talking, you mentioned and asked Stephen Vogt about the Sin-Shu Chu.
Yeah.
It sounded like it was hurt. I mean, because the kind of a thud that we could hear.
Yep. And
he got hit.
He's about as close as anybody.
Yeah.
Two and 1 the count to Rua.
Rua just activated, came from Round Rock, with Chu going on the disabled list again.
Now 3 and 2. 1 strikeout for Trigg so far. And that one bounced to the right side. Alonso on the backhand, and Rua is retired.
And Trigg said, here's your fastball, your sinker, just let it go. Try to swing at it, try to hit it. Rua swinging at that fastball away from him, almost like he was thinking the sweeping slider that Triggs has been throwing so well, especially to the right-handers.
So 1 out, and here's Chirinos. A couple of big series going on in the American League East. The Red Sox are in Baltimore. That's just a 2-game series. The Red Sox leading 3-0 over the Orioles in the bottom of the 6th inning. Mookie Betts with a 3-run homer.
Again.
Look at the East standings. Baltimore, Toronto, Boston, New York. So again, just a 2-game set there. Healy scoops it, throws, and they just get Chirinos on a nice play by Ryan Healy.
Healy again using his glove, but watch how he throws. He does not go underneath, charges the ball. He's done this already a couple of times where he'll catch it, go right over the top, and just flick his wrist. So very strong wrist throw that he does not have to get a lot on it. But in the same motion, as he catches the ball, comes up over the top and makes a nice, strong, accurate throw to Alonso.
So here's the top of the order, Jerkson, Profar. And Mookie Betts is now hitting .313. He's got 27 homers and 87 RBIs. And you and I like to do this, kick around MVP candidates. He is an MVP candidate.
That's right.
Along with Altuve, Donaldson. Well, you look at Betts's overall body of work. He may be as legitimate a candidate as anybody. So we'll keep an eye on that game. Triggs has a nice inning. 3 ground ball outs. A's leading 1-0. Rangers nothing. Top of the 4th inning here in Arlington. Rangers won last night 5-2. So it'll be Muncy, Crisp, and Valencia here against Alex Claudio. Claudio came in the 3rd inning after Lucas Harrell left after 2 innings with the groin injury. And Rangers would love multiple innings out of Alex Claudio. The most he has gone this year was 4 1/3 innings. He did that back in May. I think the Rangers would be thrilled with 4 1/3 innings.
Oh, wouldn't they? Well, what it might mean for Lucas Harrell is a DL, because if you deplete your bullpen in a game like tonight, because your starter only goes 2 innings, you may have to get some reinforcements for the remainder of the series and a few games anyway.
One and 2 the count. Muncy walked in the 2nd inning. That's the inning the A's got their run, and they received 3 walks in that inning, one of them with the bases loaded. Strike 3 called. Joe West slowly turns around, pumps the right arm, and that's strikeout number 2 for Claudio.
Well, inside part of the plate, stayed there, did not go outside where Torinos had called for it. And big slow Joe West made the call. Max took a 11th pitch slider from Matt Bush last night. He said unbelievably how hard it was thrown. Wasn't expecting it. It was strike 3 and a check swing.
Coco Crisp on the ground, backhanded by Andrus, throws across, 2 outs. Well, still early in the game. The A's leading 1-0. The A's have stranded 7. They stranded 7 through the first 3 innings.
Well, Kuip, it's not surprising that a right-hander starts. You put your lineup against that right-hander, and then all of a sudden after 2 innings he's gone, you bring a lefty in. You start looking down the lineup, how different it might have been if there'd been a lefty start in the game tonight.
Yep.
And there's maybe a couple, 2 or 3 players who would not have been playing to start the game at least. Matter of fact, Coco has not been playing against a lot of left-handed pitchers, switch hitter that he is.
Valencia has singled, and he was the A's hitter who walked with the bases loaded. So 2-0 the count. Valencia picked up RBI number 42 with that bases loaded walk. Sometimes Claudio's pitches are so slow, they're not registering on our speed.
It's called a.
What's the limit?
Called a changeup off a changeup.
65 or lower.
That's right. So you're saying
What
at
was
least
that one? See, it's not registering.
At least has to throw the
66.
speed limit, right?
You got. That's right. You got to go Route 66, otherwise it's not going to show up.
But he's throwing a lot of changeups. I like the screwball changeup. It's working.
Yep, may get it out. Moreland right in front of his friends, and he makes the catch. And that's a good inning for Alex Claudio as he retires Muncy, Crisp, and Valencia.
Colors with a Sunny Gray fleece blanket presented by Xfinity. Monday, September the 5th, you can be one of 15,000 fans to take home this green and gold fleece blanket before the A's 1:05 p.m. Labor Day matinee against the Los Angeles Angels. Get your tickets now at athletics.com/tickets. So you get the Sunny Gray sunshade, and you wrap yourself in a blanket for those hot, cool days. Keep the sun out, stay warm. So you get all Sunny Gray stuff.
Okay, I'm not sure I'm totally following you on that, but I like what you're trying to do.
So real sunny to keep the sun out, but you shouldn't have to wrap yourself in a blanket.
Wow,
but
it's those hot, cold days.
That's right. Just in case you have both at the same time.
Hot, cold, sunny, gray. Desmond Beltran Beltre. So tough part of the order for Andrew Triggs, who's done a nice job so far. It was pitch number 38, and it was a good one. 1-2 the count to Desmond.
Well, Andrew Triggs has a sweeping slider, and he has a good fastball, good sinking fastball. So from what Stephen Vogt, the catcher's doing, kind of mixing and matching, trying to guess with the hitters and what they're not guessing to swing at, especially sinker down the middle. Yeah, it's the 4 pitches he throws, mostly the sinker, the fastball, and the slider. Curveball, of course, the mixture between the slider and the curveball. Throws 1 changeup a game.
Now 3-2.
Now he'll get to the point where he'll start his slider maybe closer to the hitter, because he can sweep it across the plate. Started that one in the middle of the plate, try to get Desmond to swing at it like he did in his first at bat, but that was 0-2.
And this one's driven toward right center field. Valencia on the move, and he makes the catch. Ball kind of hung up. Valencia got a good jump.
Well, really kind of like the ball Rua hit on 3-2. Maybe thinking slider, goes fastball, gets a ground out, and this one caught by Valencia. So the power of Desmond going to right center, but that got in on his hands just enough with the sinking action.
And there's Carlos Beltran, who had a base hit in the first inning.
Simeon actually playing now with the shift, where the ball ended up after it hit the mound. Beltran's first at bat.
Beltran has 416 career home runs. And with that base hit in the first inning, he now has 2,577 career hits. And that's going to be another one. Drops it down the left field line. Beltran is going to try for 2. The throw coming in, and it's late, and Carlos Beltran has a double. He sliced it right down the left field line, so he's 2 for 2. And that'll bring up Adrian Beltre. True story brought to you by McDonald's. Most home runs all time at Globe Life Park. Beltre has 100. He's behind Palmeiro, Gonzalez, Rodriguez, and Michael Young. So with the rest of this year and a 2-year contract extension, he could very easily be on top of that list when his career is over. And that one spins him out of the way. He rubs his elbow, trying to talk Joe West into it.
And it hit Joe West. It hit Joe West and knocked the ball straight down. Stephen Vogt, no chance to get it. Look out, Joe. Got him on the left arm, went straight down, and Beltre. And Joe said, no, Adrian, it would have hit me not as hard if it hit you that way.
So that had to be a cross-up, because you see where Vogt was going?
No,
Vogt was diving outside.
Yeah.
The ball came inside, and then Joe West was just exposed completely.
Took it like a man, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Big Joe, he said nothing's going to bother me. But you're right, Stephen Vogt way outside, and that ball ran in, and Big Joe just stood right there, as he is right now in the slot.
1-1 the count to Beltre. in the air, right center, playable as Coco Crisp gets over. Beltran will tag, and he will head over to third, and he'll make it there. But now there are 2 outs.
Well, Cap, we talk about hands and how important they are. Just Carlos Beltran, he may be 38, but the way he just flicks this ball away from him, look at the hands, just, and the ball slices down the left field line. But this is all just hands, and that's why he's going to remain a great hitter. And what he did at Yankee Stadium with the short porch in right field, he's got the same park here for right field. And best place to pitch him is like that. Let him have his base hits and doubles, but you make a mistake inner part of the plate, he'll put the ball in the seats very quickly, like he did at Yankee Stadium. Right now, Triggs trying to get the 3rd out after a big hitter in Beltran.
Trying to get Odor, and the first pitch stays outside. Odor, fly ball to left field in the 2nd inning.
Talk about hitters that try to muscle the ball, and then there's some hitters that just say, just let me flick my wrist and use my hands and wrist and forearms. No muscles necessary.
Odor on the ground. Muncy has it, and Triggs gets out of the jam. So Beltran stranded at third, and we are on to the 5th inning. 1-0 A's lead. This is live on CSNCalifornia.com. Log on each week as our A's insider Joe Stiglitz. He just wants to talk baseball. This week he does it with A's third baseman Ryan Healy. The A's Insider Podcast with Joe Stiglitz. It's on CSNCalifornia.com, sponsored by Max Muscle Sports Nutrition. You can also get it on iTunes. A's 1, Rangers nothing, top of the 5th inning.
A beautiful sky.
It is. Look at that. Well, we said it last night. We can say it again tonight. One of the most comfortable weather we've had here in a long, long time. Now you come here in April and May, it's usually pretty nice, but boy, you come June, July, August, even September, it is going to be warm. Very comfortable. Little flare. Beltre hustling out, and he caught it. Oh, man.
Yeah, he ran with his back to the infield, and then almost like he knew the ball was coming down and turned around and looked at it. I mean, he just turns his back, figured, I got no chance. Head down, and then he looks up, and there it is. That is a great play back to the infield, reaching over his shoulder and robbing Stephen Vogt of at least a base hit and maybe a double.
So the Gold Glover makes a terrific play. One out here in the top of the 5th.
Adrian Beltre does not like to have his helmet taken off after he hits a home run, or don't mess with his head.
Another line drive. This will be a hit. Bounce off the wall. And Chris Davis has his second double. So he has lined out and hit a pair of doubles tonight. So good night for Chris Davis.
And he was the first batter that Claudio faced him. A changeup hit it to right center. And there's a breaking ball coming into his swing. And first pitch hitting again to left field. And you're right. Very quiet stadium tonight. And ball drilled down the left field line.
So here's Butler, another scoring opportunity for the Athletics. Again, they have stranded 7 so far through the first 4 innings. You just feel like they're going to need to add on here at some point.
Absolutely. But if you look at the course of the season, we've talked about it, the lack of walks the A's have received. Of course, those that they have received, many have not scored. And then the hits with runners in scoring position. I mean, that's not easy anyway. But when your average is low, that's not good.
Yeah, just not enough traffic on the bases.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, you'd like to see in this case, we got 2 opportunities to get him in from second after a 1-out double. Had the leadoff double, didn't score last inning.
Swing and a miss.
Now,
the A's are 14th in the league in walks, and they're 15th in the league in on-base percentage.
That's not good. It's breaking ball sweeping to the back foot of Billy Butler, and quickly 1-2 count. But the one thing, and it's nothing against hitters, because pitchers will pitch hitters differently when there are runners on base than they will with nobody on base. But still, the hits are there for the taking, and you have to become a different type of hitter when you have a runner in scoring position.
2-2 to Butler. Well, the A's coming into tonight have scored 476 runs. That's 13th out of 15 teams in the American League. Total runs scored. Butler taps this one. Beltre, he's going to barehand. He's going to fire to first, and Moreland digs it out and keeps his foot on the bag. Terrific play by Adrian Beltre.
Bob Melvin maybe wants to take a look at it, but it's a question not of Beltre. He makes a great play. Did Moreland keep his foot on the bag? And first base umpire looking, and looks like the A's got confirmation that he did. Great play by Moreland, keeping the toe on the bag after scooping a ball to his right. Butler hustling down the line, but that's Adrian Beltre at his best. This time he figured he had to barehand the ball, but catching it all well, and Moreland making the play. Great on both ends, and Davis couldn't move.
Indeed, Davis at second. Kerwin Danley, the first base umpire, he was looking right at the foot of Moreland. So now the A's need a 2-out hit from Yonder Alonso. Watch the foot.
See, Kerwin Danley hit. That's the reason Adam Roden took a look at that same shot and said he's right.
.39 pitches for Alex Claudio. He's thrown 2 2/3 innings out of the bullpen.
Torredo's a good block, but that says it also that Davis could not go to third on the ball that was handled by Beltre, because he had to be concerned that Beltre could catch the ball fake and then try to go back and get him. So Davis had to stay at second, which is huge, 90 feet, considering the way Claudio's pulling his slider.
And now the count 1-2. Alonso has grounded out, and he has struck out. Outfield straight away. Profile is shallow and left. It must feel like for a hitter, the ball just never gets there. It just kind of floats. 2-2 pitch, and he went around and got him swinging. No, Alex Claudio, 3 shutout innings out of the bullpen. Bottom of the 5th coming up. It's the A's 1 and the Rangers nothing.
Sports Service. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to AT Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Boy, camera crew's got some huge, great shots of this sky tonight. This is unbelievable. Picturesque.
There's the breakdown. 8 ground ball outs. Trigg doing a very nice job as he's back to work here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 8 ground ball outs, 3 fly ball outs, and just the 1 strikeout.
Another good sinker for the ground balls. So he's done that very nicely.
Moreland, Andrus Rua. That one could have been called a strike. So 1-1 the count. Moreland grounded out in the 2nd inning. Just 2 hits for the Rangers. Beltran single in the 1st, Beltran double in the 4th. That's it.
Okay, we talked about how Mitch Moreland kind of owns the A's. He seems to hit the A's regardless of where he plays. But last year, played the 2nd half with a stress fracture in his foot.
He had a good year last year.
He did, and he played through it and kind of slowed down. As he said, I was never fast in the first place, but still to be able to play, that's what some players will do. And usually the first day of spring training is when they feel their best. But after that, it's all downhill between injuries and just wear and tear on the body. But to have that type of an injury and continue to play through it, of course, the Rangers won the division, went to postseason, lost the game, huge game in Toronto. Unforgettable one.
Popped up, Healy hustling out, Davis hustling in, and Healy's going to make the catch. So 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. The Rangers won the AL West last year by 2 games over the Houston Astros. They finished 88-74. And you know, I talk a lot about how are teams doing against other teams, especially within your division. You always want to play well within your division. Well, last year, again, a 2-game lead over the Astros, and they went 13-6 against Houston.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
There's your every game is a 2-game swing. This year, look what the Rangers are doing against the Astros. They're 11-2, and they have 6 games left with the Astros. They're 8-4 against the Mariners. They have 7 games left with the Mariners. So they're doing it again this year, beating the teams that are chasing them.
They came out of nowhere last year in the second half, and Astros trying to do to them, to the Rangers this year, what the Rangers did to the Astros, because the Astros had a tremendous season last year until they met up with the Rangers.
1-2 now to Andrews.
This is a good breaking ball. Look where he starts this pitch, though. I mean, he's been starting some way off, but this one kind of starts in the middle and then goes to the outside corner, but still a very, very good sweeping breaking ball. This is uncharted territory for Andrew Triggs tonight. Pitch count is good and into the 5th inning.
Count remains 1-2.
And he has done nothing to disappoint the A's this year after they picked him up from the Orioles in spring and waivers, and he's been up and down. How many times did you say? 9 times? Is it
8, I believe, is the final count.
Yeah.
Maybe not final count. Who knows?
But just whether it's in the bullpen, spot starting, and tonight giving his club a chance, even though opportunities missed early, could have a bigger lead, but he's pitched very effectively. And second time through this very tough lineup of the Rangers.
Close pitch, just a touch inside, so it's 3-2. Yankees leading the Blue Jays 6-4. Top of the 6th inning in New York. That's another big AL East series. They had some rain in New York. That game was delayed for a little bit. Ooh. Strike 3 called, has to be, and it is right there with the slider.
Yeah, I was thinking the front door slider would be a great pitch for him. He's going to sinker down in, but this ball starts and then buckles the knees of Andrews. He knew it, and there's the little slider and right on the inside part of the plate. Perfectly thrown by Triggs.
So 2 outs. Here's Ryan Rua. Outside corner, a strike. Rua grounded out to first in his only other at bat. That one is drilled to left. A's have a man there. It's Chris Davis, side retired. So a 3-up, 3-down inning for Triggs. 6th inning coming up, 1-0 A's.
Forward by choice, Andrew Triggs, his 3rd major league start, and he is pitching great tonight. Good sweeping breaking ball, good sinker down and in. Andrew Triggs has been outstanding through 5 innings. How about this breaking ball? Nice play by Healy. Just everything working well. This is probably one of the best pitches right there. The front door breaking ball. You got Elvis Andrus. So the ground balls, the fly balls, the strikeout, just 2 hits to this very, very good hitting club.
Claudio out there for inning number 4 for him. Simeon, Healy, and Muncy. Claudio's pitch count at 43. Knocks this one down. Drops right at his feet, picks it up, and throws out Marcus Simeon.
Yeah, I would think both managers, with Claudio, the Rangers, and Triggs for the A's, both relievers, every time they come off the mound, the question is, how do you feel? And, you know, guys will be honest. And pitch counts are good. And I think for both managers, if they can continue to get work out of these relievers, it really is helping the bullpen. And Triggs has been so economical with his pitches tonight through 5 innings. He's going to go after the 6th.
First pitch to Healy. Here's a good one right at the knees. 85 miles an hour. How about that? 68 miles an hour.
A smile from Ryan Healy. Couldn't wait long enough. Smiles from the people behind home plate. I don't know what they were smiling at.
Tried it again. That one even slower.
But one thing about Darren Bush, the A's hitting coach, they have all scouting reports. Ryan Healy, with his emergence at the major league level, starting right after the All-Star break, if there's ever anybody talking to Darren Bush about the pitchers, it would be Healy, because he's seeing so many guys for the first time. You just want to have an idea of what they throw, not so much how often they throw it, what percentages, but just be aware of the type of pitches they throw and just try to react as much as possible.
Hits that one right on the ground to Odor. Had him played perfectly. 2-1. Nine out of 10 retired by Claudio. And now he faces Max Muncy. Muncy has walked and struck out. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss.
It's not surprising. You're
crazy. Huh?
Yeah, oh yeah. Just drops down farther and farther. But just going to say, there's no shifting. I think with Claudio, because he's kind of funky in his delivery and the way he pitches, it's hard to shift because you don't know how the pitch is going to end up at the plate.
Tried it again. Why not? So 1-2 to Muncy. Tries to run one inside. Not a bad idea. So the count even, 2-2.
And a slider.
Not a good take by Muncy, and now it's a full count.
He's seen enough.
Yep.
Just wait and wait. They're not throwing hard when he does get the slider.
Payoff pitch is bounced slowly toward Anders, who charges. Quick throw, and they get Muncy And Claudio has a 3-up, 3-down inning. He has retired 5 in a row. Bottom of the 6th coming up. 1-0. A's lead the Rangers.
Memberships are on sale right now. Whether you want to renew your membership or join the party, visit athletics.com/2017. You'll find all the benefits that A's membership has to offer, including early bird incentives, exclusive experiences, half-price parking, a flexible ticket exchange program, and more. You can even lock in your 2017 seating locations. Visit athletics.com/2017 and join the party today. Remember when it was 2000? And here we are talking about 17.
Wow.
How quickly time flies. Oh, when you're having fun, it just speeds by.
Flies right by. So Triggs, 64 pitches, 5 shutout innings. It'll be Chirinos, Profar, and Desmond. Good pitch on the outside corner, 1-1. Chirinos grounded out to third, his only other at bat. That was in the 3rd inning. Red Sox leading the Orioles. It's now 5-3 in the 8th inning in Baltimore.
Wow. Boston had that makeup game yesterday in Cleveland. Tonight in Baltimore.
That was a big story today. I don't know if you read it or not in the USA Today about the travel, and it can be tough on ball players, which nobody really is going to feel sorry for them. Diekman starts to throw, but in the Red Sox case, Sunday a game in Boston, Monday a game in Cleveland, Tuesday, Wednesday in Baltimore, Thursday in Detroit.
A day game Thursday, right?
And a day game Thursday, and that's sort of the big controversy. Right. But the point is so you have 5 games in 5 days in 4 different cities.
Yeah. Now, why would they play day game Thursday?
That
in Detroit?
I'm not sure. Yeah, but yeah, the controversy in that stretch of games we're talking about for the Red Sox is, and that hits Chirinos.
I would question that. He turned into that, although the pitch was inside. And Stephen Vogt trying to talk to Joe West, but watch the left elbow as it's coming in. See, he turned into it.
Yeah, that should not be allowed. It
should not be allowed, because he knows it's a breaking ball, and he turns in and takes it on the elbow. Again, watch the left elbow. It's going. He could try to get out of the way of it. Instead, he turns into it.
You know what? Should be able to review that.
I agree. I think
and
anything.
Let the umpire see it and make
a
decision on whether he stuck his elbow on it.
I agree 100%. Just like the ones that we talk about, the ball that bounces in front of the umpire, home plate umpire calls it. But no, I mean, you see the breaking ball coming. You're a smart enough hitter, especially with 2 strikes. You're going to do exactly what Chirinos did. Chu last night with 2 strikes when he got hit. A little bit more serious than it was Torinos, actually, who had a similar injury in the spring, cost him 2 months with surgery on a fractured forearm. Ryan Dole heats up.
Ryan Dole is the guy. But to finish that story on the Red Sox race, so they play tomorrow night game in Baltimore. And then Thursday, a day game in Detroit.
That's the beginning of a 4-game series.
Yeah, that's the 4-game series in Detroit. From what we understand, the Red Sox asked the Tigers to play a night game, and they said no. And they don't have to.
They don't have to, no. And the only really saving grace for them is the fact that one is, well, they're both Eastern time zones.
Yeah.
But it's not like they're long flights. It's just the circumstances in which you're playing a night game, and you're not going to leave Baltimore probably before midnight.
Probably not.
You know, by the time you get to the hotel, you're looking at 3. Get to bed at 3 and then have to get up for a day game. Can't understand why they're playing a day game.
Well, the Red Sox, I looked at their schedule, right, and they're right in the thick of this whole thing, but their final 45 games, 29 are on the road, 16 at home, and they still have 2 10-game road trips and a 9-game road trip. Still.
Wow.
In fact, the game tonight, well, I guess it would be yesterday's game in Cleveland. That started one of those 10-game road trips. But they have 3 long road trips still to play on their schedule. It's usually when you're done with your 3 city trips. But
and I will say, and they come to Oakland for the Labor Day weekend. But they've already been out west. So why not hit all the teams at the same time? I mean, especially Seattle, Oakland, Anaheim.
Yeah, well, they were. Yeah, they played the Giants a couple months ago, and they didn't play them the same time the A's are playing, because the A's haven't played them at the Coliseum.
Exactly.
So the Red Sox, if they're going to get to the postseason, it'll be a tough stretch for them. Lots and lots of road games left.
Only one, like you mentioned, think of the Tampa Bay Rays a few years ago, where they won on the last day. They had a tiebreaker, and then they had the wild card. I mean, they were playing like every day was a different city. And you love to have those problems. Right now, Bob Melvin trying to get through this inning with Dull warming up and trying to make a decision. 3rd time through the batting order right now, 4 Triggs.
Good pitch down around the knees, and it's 2-2 to Profile.
A little backdoor slider, and Joe West liked it. Maybe they didn't like the fact that it was a little bit low, or at least the ones who were booing. Fastball in, bring it back. Now they're going to think about it. Stephen Vogt, maybe second thoughts about that pitch, because he's wanting, if he calls the fastball inside, he wants the severe sinking breaking action that kind of freezes the left-handed hitter. He decided to go away.
Tap slowly. Muncy charges, and Muncy looked to second, and he'll get the out at first. So Torinos now, the tying run, is in scoring position.
Was not hit hard enough to turn 2, and not hit hard enough for Muncy to tag Torinos going to second base. So to get the sure out, cannot take a chance to throw to second to get the lead runner. As he did look and thought, better not try it, and that's probably the smartest play. You don't want to take a chance and open up a huge inning.
So here's Desmond. Desmond is 0 for 2. And there's a line shot. Davis is there, and he grabs it.
Is that amazing or what?
That ball was smoked, but Davis was right there.
Bob Melvin said, sorry, gotta go. You get this hanging breaking ball, and just happy that you had a defender, because this ball was smoked. Line drive, hardly had to change or move his step. Chris Davis in left field just stood there, caught it, get it back in, and what a job by Andrew Triggs.
Indeed, 5 2/3 innings of shutout baseball. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. It's your oil change, tune-up, and brake experts.
California is brought to you by Toyota. Hurry in for Toyota's annual clearance event to get an incredible deal on the 2016 Toyota you want before they're gone. Toyota, let's go places. And by Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience TV.
5 2/3 innings for Triggs. He ends up throwing 75 pitches.
Got that no walks, 2 strikeouts, and without Chirinos turning his left elbow, he could have completed 6. And now with the runner at second, his runner, and he's hoping Ryan Doe can get the very tough Carlos Beltran out. But what a performance by Andrew Triggs. Went 3 in his first, 4 in his second, and pitching into the 6th in this one. 5 2/3 total.
So Doe facing Carlos Beltran, who has singled and doubled. So Doe, 2.15 ERA. There's a line drive base hit right field, and that's going to tie the game. Chirinos will score, and Beltran has his 3rd hit in the game, and it's a 1-1 ball game. There's that quick bat again, Ray. That pitch was maybe in the inner half a little bit, but
yeah, Doe tried to go inside, and Beltran with a pitch inside, maybe not as far as he wanted it, but very quick bat. That's too bad, because Chirinos really didn't have much of a chance, but gets hit on the elbow, goes to second on the ground out, and well, you put a runner in scoring position, and this time the veteran comes through.
How about that?
Yeah.
RBI number 70 for Beltran. So now it's Beltran. High again, 2-0. So 1 run allowed in 5 2/3 for Triggs.
Well, and for Ryan Doe, a rare inherited runner scoring. Something that he's been so good all year. It's in Houston that he got his first save, but ended up a couple of runs scored. But that was a situation where it was hard for him not to give up runs, but he did get the save tonight. Andrew Triggs ends up giving up the 1.
2-2 as Beltran goes down to 1 knee on the swing. Beltran has grounded out and hit a fly ball to center field. And that one is driven to center. Coco Crisp is going back. He's going to have room, and he makes the catch at the warning track side, retired. So Beltran with a 2-out RBI single to tie up the game. It's 1-1 after 6.
4th, the A's will celebrate the 18th annual Breast Cancer Awareness Day presented by Zevia, the zero-calorie soda, and supported in part by Athenia Bottled Water, Sutter Health, Nelson Staffing, Comerica Bank, State Roofing Systems, Drake's Brewing, and BDA. Prior to the game, 2,000 fans will receive breast cancer awareness wristbands courtesy of Zevia. To join the fight, purchase your special tickets now at athletics.com/survivor. Need your light, partner. We should put lights in this this radio booth. Maybe more up front than in the back, John. What do you think?
It's a little dark in our broadcast booth. That's Jake Diekman, the left-hander. 3-2 with a 3.07 ERA. So Claudio goes 4 innings, gives up 2 hits, no runs, and 3 strikeouts. So that's a pretty nice job by Alex Claudio. And what he did is he allowed his team to tie the game. So he deserves a lot of credit for that. And now Diekman comes in.
Diekman has not given up anything to the A's either. So his job in the past has been very good. 3 appearances in nothing to the A's.
Coco Crisp has been on base twice. Single and the walk. Valencia to follow, and then Stephen Vogt. The Mariners and the Angels just about set to start in Seattle. Miranda and Chacin, the pitching matchup. Mariners playing great right now. They won last night 3-2. So that's a 4-game series. Mariners have won 9 out of 10. Angels have lost 11 in a row.
Every time you say that, I don't believe it.
Yeah,
it's hard to believe.
49 and 69 are the Angels. Breaking ball, and Coco Crisp strikes out. 1 out here in the 7th.
On a sweeping breaking ball, Diekman kind of points his foot towards the dugout, crossfire across his body. Of course, he is going to see Chris Sale, who does it similarly to the right-handed hitters, and slings the ball very hard. Diekman, a reliever, kind of the throw-in. Well, what a job he's done for the Rangers.
1 away for Danny Valencia. Good slider there. Lower part of the strike zone for a strike. Valencia, single, walk, and a foul out. Astros are hosting the Cardinals, so an interleague matchup. That's just a quick 2-game series. Garcia and Keuchel pitching in that game. Astros home for 2 and then right back out on the road. They have a stretch where they are playing a lot of road games. There's a strike, and the count 2-2. That game is tied 4-4 in the top of the 6th inning. Cardinals, Astros. There it is. Astros will go to Baltimore this weekend, and then next weekend at Pittsburgh. That's a tough trip. Valencia swings over top, a pitch in the dirt. 2 outs.
Well, it is a sweeping breaking ball out of the strike zone, but Valencia committed and no chance with the ball in the dirt. Nice block by his catcher. And that is Torinos. does a good job swinging, at least catching, and hit some big home runs, some against the A's. Tonight, a simple hit by pitch scores a tying run.
Stephen Vogt hits it hard, kicks away from Moreland. He stays with it. He throws to Diekman. Side retired. So good inning for Jake Diekman. 7th inning stretch coming up. 1-1 game. A 1-1 game, bottom of the 7th inning. He'll face Odor, Moreland, and Andrus. Rougned Odor is 0 for 2. Odor very dangerous. 2 for 6 in the series. Two and 0. So it was a 2-out RBI hit by Carlos Beltran. His 3 hits tonight that tied the game in the bottom of the 6th inning.
And paying dividends already since being acquired from the Yankees, and especially with the big man Prince Fielder on the DL and out for the season, and maybe career, and Chu on the DL out for the season. So the acquisitions of Beltran and Jonathan Lucroy, pretty good additions, and then Jeffress also.
Good pitch there, 2-2.
Think he'll swing hard if he gets a good pitch?
Yep, I do. I really do. And Odor has only walked 11 times this year.
And they wonder why strikeouts are up in Major League Baseball, and you see some of the swings with 2 strikes on hitters that says it all. But if he makes contact swinging as hard as he does, it usually travels hard someplace.
That one just fouled down the first base line. 11 walks and 98 strikeouts for Odor. But if you're going to give those numbers, then you have to give the other numbers. 22 home runs and 60 RBIs. And he's got 26 doubles and 4 triples. And he's got his 12th walk. Tough guy to walk, but he is aboard and he's the go-ahead run.
Now the A's have received 5 tonight, Cap. We've talked about the lack of walks, but unfortunately tonight, not one of the walks is scored. So on one hand you get them, but I think Jim Abbott, the left-hander, always stands out. He walked 10 A's one game, not one score. 10. He's pitching for the Yankees.
Here is Mitch Moreland. Well, we talked about the A's and how little they walk. The Rangers do not walk a lot. The Rangers are 13th in the league in walks. A's are 14th. There's a strike to Mitch Moreland. Overall, the Rangers are 4th in the American League in total runs scored. They're always up near the top. Last year, they were 3rd.
We talked about Ron Washington when he managed the Rangers, how much they sacrificed. You get a runner on base, they'd utilize the sacrifice bunt. Rangers have so much power, there's not many in the lineup that you would ask them to bunt.
And now 0-2. Odor can steal a base. He's got 11. These have the full shift on for Moreland. Healy is playing the shortstop spot. He's talking it over with Marcus Semien, making sure they're all on the same page.
Yeah, he was probably saying, if the ground ball to Muncy, do I cover, or are you going to get over the cover to try to get the force out, maybe a double play?
That would be a fair question.
Yeah, because really these are the things that you're trying to do on the fly versus knowing automatically that when a certain shift is employed, who's going to be covering where.
And that situation, that's a good point, Rick. If you just look at the field and the way they're lined up, Semien is closer to the bag, but I think it's a more difficult play for Marcus Semien because he's going to be running to the bag and looking kind of over his shoulder for a ball. And we're talking about if it's a ground ball to Muncy.
And if the ball is hit to Muncy and Healy covers and he's safe, somebody better get to third because the left side is vacated.
Alonso missed it, and it rolls into short right field. Odor is going to go all the way to third, and the Rangers have first and third with nobody out.
There's a case of trying to do too much. He was trying to grab the ball, throw to second, and hurry back to first base for a 3-whatever double play. But see him reach for it. He had already set himself up to throw to first base. This is a ball that he catches, but he's already almost going back to first. Thinking about that to get back after making the throw. Doesn't catch it first, and the ball trickles into the outfield past Muncy, and a first and third and nobody out.
Well, that's frustrating. Alonso's so good over there.
Yeah.
And not only did he miss it, but the fact that it just ticked off his glove, Muncy could not make the play.
You know, he's so good. He makes plays that you never think he's going to make. And then a play like that he probably wanted to try to make, instead of just making sure to get the one out, the lead runner at second base.
And here's Elvis Andrus, who takes low. Andrus has been great with runners in scoring position this year. A .371 average. 6th best in the American League. He's just a guy, he does not strike out a lot. Infield in for the A's. Odor walking down the line at third. And the ball's hit high in the air, foul. Who knows what Odor may do down there? He may take off. You just never know. He'll walk down a long ways down that third base line. A swing and a miss, and now it's 1-2. On deck is Ryan Rua.
Well, strike out, then Yankees can take a chance of maybe going for double play. But right now, this is the big out. Nobody out, first and third.
Blocked nicely by Vogt.
And that's two with the run at third. Ball's in the dirt, the hard slider, and Rondell wants to throw the hard slider, try to get a swing, but also hoping and depending on his catcher to block it, which Stephen Vogt does perfectly.
Up and in. Andrus was looking for something away, and that one buzzed up and in.
And you're right. He thinks opposite field. And that's why when he is looking to dive to the outside part of the plate, so up and in, and nice if it ticked his bat for a strikeout.
Hit in the air, plenty deep to right. Valencia backs up, squares up. Odor tags. Here comes Odor, and the throw will go to third base. Nobody there, but Odor scores easily. Almost looked like Valencia got caught in between throwing it home and throwing it to second base. Either way, it wasn't going to matter because Odor was going to score. So the Rangers take the lead.
Boy, how about that? A leadoff walk to a batter who rarely walks, and he scores.
So Andrus, he does his thing.
They changed Marlins to a hit. Oh, wow.
That's not a hit.
That is definitely not a hit. It could have been a double play. Somebody called.
So give him a hit. Andrus picks up his 52nd RBI. So here's Nomar Mazara hitting for Rua. Mazara takes a fastball first time. Jeff Bannister said he wanted to give Mazara a night off last night, and he was not in the starting lineup, but then Chu got hurt and Mazara had to come in. So that's why he was not in the lineup tonight. Still trying to get him that full night off, but pinch hitting here in the 7th inning. "27 pitches for Ryan Dole. Good swing there by Mazara. Chirinos is your on-deck hitter. That one down the left field line, well foul. So the A's had a 1-0 lead going to the bottom of the 6th. Now the Rangers have the lead. See how Jeff Bannister works his 8th inning and his 9th inning.
And he's had somebody up in the bullpen. I think Diekman was only going to get 1 inning. Somebody's been up for a while.
It's Jeffress, the new bullpen arm for the Rangers. Jeremy Jeffress. Tapped foul again, and the count stays 2-2. Royals beat the Tigers 6-1 in Detroit. And the Tigers with that loss now 5.5 games behind the first place Cleveland Indians. See where the Tigers today picked up Eric Ibaugh from the Atlanta Braves. Their shortstop, Tiger shortstop, got placed on the disabled list, right?
I think so, yes.
So they went out and got Eric Ibaugh. Drive to center. Coco racing back at the wall, and he's going to make the catch. Quickly gets it back in. And a long second out as Coco, boy, he turned around and he had his back facing home plate, and he was on a dead sprint.
This is the young man. Fortunately, the ball was away from him, tailing away a little bit. If it had been inner half the plate, it's a home run to right field. But instead, this is why you pitch power hitters away, let them try to hit it out to center field. And Coco all the way to the wall, bringing down the ball, as he did with Beltre earlier.
So 2 outs, and here's Chirinos. First pitch is a strike.
Still can't believe they gave Moreland a base hit on that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Did not.
I mean, that's just a routine, almost off the end of the bat ground ball.
Pretty good pitch by Dull, but it's a ball, 1-1. It seemed more like an error than a hit.
Absolutely, because if he had handled it right, could have been a double play. At least he gets one. It wasn't like it was a hard hit ball.
So this was originally an error.
That's off the end of the bat, off the end of the glove, and I mean, the Fisher score should have just seen what Alonso did, and the fact that he was backing up a little bit, trying to catch the ball, hurry up and throw to second, and then get back to first base. And he knows that. And he's probably shocked that it's a hit as well. Moreland standing next to him and said he's ecstatic.
He's lefty Mark Sipczynski is getting ready. Simeon is underneath the infield pop-up. He's got it, and that will do it. But the Rangers get a run, and we're headed to the 8th. It's now 2-1 Texas. For the Bay Area fan, know it all with Sportsnet Central. It's brought to you by Hyundai. You'll see it tonight at 10:30, and it's on CSN Bay Area. Have A's Rangers highlights. We'll have all the highlights from Major League Baseball, a full slate of games, and of course the training camp reports for both the 49ers and the Raiders. Kelly Johnson, Fallon Smith will host tonight at 10:30 on CSN Bay Area. It's Sportsnet Central. Rangers now lead 2-1. They got a run in the 6th and a run in the 7th to take the lead. So they go back to their bullpen. This is Jeremy Jeffress. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. Your oil change, tune-up, and break expert. So acquired from the Brewers with Jonathan Lucroy right at the trade deadline.
27 for 28 in save opportunities. Of course, the closer for the Brewers. One of those saves against the A's back in Milwaukee. And he is a power arm. He throws upwards of the 90s.
That's Mazzara. He's in the game, stays in the game to play right field. Chris Davis, a couple of doubles. These guys were teammates in Milwaukee.
And Chris asking, immediately Chirino said to Joe West that he foul tipped the ball, but it could have been his catcher's mitt making the sound. So if he got the strike, he's 2 for 2. Got hit on the left elbow with a 2-strike count.
Beltre has it near the bag. Across in time to get Chris Davis. One out here in the top of the 8th inning. Thing with Jefferson is another one of those pitchers that at the deadline Rangers picked him up, and he's not going to be a free agent until after 2018. So the Rangers will have him this year, next year, in the year after that.
And so they get a closer who's willing to be a setup man to Dyson, their closer. And knowing they have a closer in the waiting if something should happen.
Just 28 years old. Really just kind of coming into his own. He's always been a hard thrower.
He will throw the curve, which he did. He has a split finger fastball that he will throw sometimes, not much, mostly just 2 and 4 seam fastball. There's the 4-seam off the plate. Curveball. So like last night, the A's 3 hits in the first 2 innings, 1 run, but since then just 2 hits. And just trying to do something. Both those hits were doubles by Chris Davis against Claudio.
95 miles an hour. Butler has grounded out 3 times, once into a double play. Swing and a miss. Good fastball with some movement.
Serious movement down and in. Looked like the 4-seam that he got, but then ball just took off down and into it.
That one not close. Alonso to follow. Story tonight has been the Rangers bullpen. And Butler tries to hold up. And he did, says Kerwin Danley, and Butler will take the walk.
And somebody would think it's going to be pinch running for him as he started his swing and did not. That's a good call on the curveball by Kerwin Danley. Somebody is going to go into pinch run for him.
So it'll be Eibner. So Eibner pinch running for Butler.
He throws 97, 98, dropped the curveball, and hey, Billy Butler started a swing but held up, gets the call, and he's have the potential tying run at first.
So Alonso looking for his first hit. He has grounded out and struck out twice. Fastball and the strike. That walk snaps a stretch of 9 consecutive A's hitters retired. Claudio in 4 shutout innings, and Diekman pitched a 3-up, 3-down 7th inning. Jeffress here in the 8th. Missed again. 2-1. Good take by Yonder Alonso. Jeffress with the Rangers has allowed 3 earned runs in 6 innings. This is his 7th appearance with Texas. It's nice to have kind of a second closer on your team. Runner goes and the ball's hit foul, like a hit and run. Eibner peeked in.
And not a bad idea, because as we have always said, closers are those in the setup row, as Jeffress is now, not have particularly great moves. And then Eibner, high leg kick from the hard throwing right-hander, but on the hit and run. Alonso did single against him. Jeffress in Milwaukee. In fact, he came in with a 3-run lead in the 9th, gave up 2 runs.
Change up and not close, so it's 3-2. So we'll see if Eibner goes. 3-2, 1 out. Simeon in the on-deck circle.
Let's see if Jeffress has the same high leg kick. That would be important, because if he goes slide step, maybe takes a little bit off his fastball that he's expected to throw, I would think. Torino's throws extremely well. He's got a very strong, accurate arm.
Eibner not running, and the ball is ripped foul down the right field line. Well foul.
Don't make another mistake with the fastball in there that Alonso put it in the seats. Very inviting for left-handed hitters in this park. Going back into the fastball.
And he misses. Eibner was on the move, and back-to-back walks here in the top of the 8th inning. A's have received 7 walks now.
It's a good time to have them score, isn't it?
Well, I don't think any of them have scored.
They have
Obviously,
not.
they've only scored 1 run.
They have not. They actually, there's a walk that brought in the only run for the A's.
So 2 on, 1 out for Simeon. A's with a chance to tie the game. Joe West walking out, probably not that thrilled that he's got to head all the way up.
2-1. Let's go. They should penalize pitching coach if he doesn't get across the line by 30 seconds. Joe West may take that long to get back behind home plate, because he's not going to be running.
Joe does a pretty good job of keeping the game moving.
Yes, he does. And he knows the rules, that we have found out. He's very astute when it comes to the rule book.
Marcus Semien has lined out. He has walked and he has bounced back to the pitcher. A little bit inside from Jeffress. Jeffress struggling a little bit right now. Throwing hard, obviously, but back-to-back walks. He generally has pretty good control. I mean, he's not a guy who doesn't know where the strike zone is.
He's throwing hard, but it's got a little sinking action out of the strike zone. And he does throw a two-seamer, but it looks like he's trying to throw a four-seam that just keeps moving. Keller, the hard-throwing right-hander with a good curveball.
That one's hit hard to Beltre on the back end. He's going to step on third, throw to first, double play. Another double play. That's 5 turned in this series by the Rangers, and they all seem to hurt. 2-1, Rangers hold on to the lead.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Oakland Athletics and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
Game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. So the Rangers with a single run in the 6th, a single run in the 7th, and they have grabbed the 2-1 lead. Andrew Triggs did a very nice job. 5 2/3 innings, gave up just the 1 earned run. And again, too many missed opportunities, and this was another one for the A's.
Second time tonight this happened. Butler did it once, and Beltre did it the second time with Marcus Semien. Can I remember last night when Beltre took the 2-0 changeup? Tonight that was a 2-0 fastball that Semien beat in the ground and right to the third baseman for the double play.
So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change tune-up and brake expert. So Ryan Madsen comes in. Profar pops it up behind second base where Marcus Semien is there. And Profar is now 0 for 4. Make sure you join us tomorrow. We will wrap up this 3-game series here in Arlington. Good pitching matchup. Sean Manaea and Yu Darvish. It'll be A's pregame live at 4:30. First pitch at 5:05, and then you get complete A's coverage every night on Sportsnet Central and CSNCalifornia.com. So Manaea looking for his 5th win. Yu Darvish healthy, back, and the Rangers need him to be good. So Ian Desmond is the hitter. 1-0 the count to Desmond. 2-0 the count to Desmond. Strike out, fly ball to right, line out to left. Up the middle, right over the bag, and that's going to be a base hit. So Desmond gets his 3rd hit in the series, first hit tonight.
Now Madsen trying to reach down, but went right through the rickets, right between his legs into center field. And at that point, no chance.
So hit number 5. Each team now with 5 hits. Indians beat the White Sox 3-1 in Cleveland. So the Indians win, the Tigers lose, and it's now a 6-game lead for the Tribe in the AL Central. Big night for Carlos Beltran. Single in the 1st, double in the 4th, RBI single in the 6th. Has been thought about running. In fact, he took a couple steps and then stopped. And the pitch was a ball, 2-0.
Well, Stephen Vogt had to reach for that ball that cut on him a little bit. Looking outside, the ball ran inside. And maybe heard somebody yell, "There he goes," because of a left-handed hitter, but Desmond did not run.
Healy hustling over near his dugout, and it's going to bounce on top of the dugout. So 2-1 the count. And Beltran, obviously a switch hitter, but fits in nicely between Desmond and Beltran. A couple of right-handed power hitters. Runner goes. Vogt's throw. Not in time. That's another thing Ian Desmond can do if needed. He gets his 18th stolen base. Not too shabby.
Well, they shot up a flare just to see maybe what it could do, and then straight steal as Beltran taking all the way. The pitch was high, not a bad pitch to throw, but when you see a base runner with his head down, he's not thinking about a hit and run or any contact by the hitter, and that's why as a hitter, even as a left-hander, you let him run, and made it easily.
3-1 the count. See Beltran waiting in the on-deck circle. Shift is on. And the strike. Well placed by Madsen.
Beltran looking changeup, taking the fastball while it. Very good pitch, good location.
But again, to our point, watches it go.
Exactly right.
See if he gets a better pitch.
Yep.
And he chased it.
Yep.
So good job of pitching by Madsen. He made a really nice 3-1 pitch, and then he gets the strikeout on 3-2.
Yeah, nailed the outside corner, and then Beltran maybe thinking again with the fastball. This time the changeup looked like the heater, but it was a changeup and a good one from Madsen, who, you like the aggressive hitters who are looking fastball, and he got the changeup.
So that'll bring up Adrian Beltre. So a big out to get for Madsen, and for the Rangers, a big insurance run out there. That's the Rangers closer, Sam Dyson. .83 miles an hour from Madsen.
The changeup down and in, and Beltre trying to bring the hands in to make contact, but could not.
Chase the high fastball, and Matson gets the strikeout, and the runner is stranded. Last chance for the A's. They trail 2-1.
A 3-hit night. There's the first one, hit the mound up the middle past the diving Marcus Semien, and then a double down the left field line, just kind of flicked it. And Chris Davis, as he beat it, this was the big one though. Rondell, high fastball inside with a tying run at second. He would bring him home. That was Chirinos who took one on the left elbow, turning into it, but Carlos Beltran acquired by the Rangers from the Yankees, and a big 2-out hit, driving in Chirinos.
So top of the ninth, the Rangers leading 2-1, and here is their closer Sam Dyson. 1-2, 27 saves, ERA of 2.48. He's been a workhorse 57 games, and that's a lot.
And to go
nearly half of the games he has pitched in for the Rangers. Drew Stubbs in left field. First pitch to Ryan Healy is a strike. Healy, Muncy, crisp.
I remember at the beginning of the season, Tollison was the closer.
Yep.
The Rangers, and walk-off grand slam by
really
Chris Davis, and struggled, and actually when he was Oakland, and Dyson took over. And now they have Jeffress, who got out of the last inning.
Healy tonight is 1 for 3. Strike 3 called on the outside corner, 1 out.
Now that's your little two-seamer. He throws it mid-90s, but the two-seamer bringing it back like a screwball to the outside corner, and that is a perfectly thrown 2-strike pitch.
So in steps Max Muncy. He's had 5 hits tonight, but just 1 since the 3rd inning. Odor charges, flips it with his glove, and Moreland could not handle it. So it's a base hit for Muncy. The A's will take it. If Moreland catches it, he's going to be out. Looked like it handcuffed him a little bit, Ray.
Well, he probably wasn't expecting to get it without the throw, and just a little hesitation, and it literally had to reach back a little bit to try to catch it. And you're right, I think it did handcuff him. Torino's hustling down the line to pick up the baseball, but also to see if Muncy had rounded the bag. He hustled back. Torino's did to tag Muncy in case he had any sort of a direction towards second base. So pinch runner in Tyler Ladendorf.
So the speedy Ladendorf is now at first base.
A good hustle by Max Muncy to beat it out and force Odor to have to try to handle the ball with his glove and not transfer the ball. Coco, the 2-run home run off Matt Bush the last time the A's were here. I think they'd do another something special in this game.
Kind of bluffs a butt, and it's a strike. So 0-1 the count. Coco has a single, a walk, a ground out, and a strikeout. Manny Valencia, the on-deck hitter. A little bit low, 1-1, 92 miles an hour from Dyson. Dyson not necessarily a big strikeout closer.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, 4 previous appearances against the A's, just 1 strikeout. So to your point, well taken. He just pitches to contact. So the strikeout to Healy. Well, he made a perfect pitch. It's a rare strikeout. Sinker.
Yep, fouled off of Chirinos.
That is a great pitch. You throw mid-90s and then throw this kind of a sinker that goes straight down. Very effective.
Coco behind in the count, 1-2.
Huge hole between first and second. He can get out in front and pull one of those sinkers or a fastball, get it past Moreland to right field, which would put Ladendorf at third. Question is, though, Kipe, if the A's do get a runner at third, less than 2 outs, will they get him in? Has not been the case tonight, and the opportunity is early to blow this thing open. And right now, scuffling to try to tie the game.
A's are 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Outfield fairly deep in right. Fairly deep in center. Stubbs fairly shallow in left. Another close pitch, but outside. So a full count. We'll see if Ladendorf takes off.
Well, the thing that Dyson is doing, Chirinos is doing, probably remembering what Coco did to Matt Bush last time the A's were here. So they're staying away from it. Valencia waits, but this is a pretty good chance if the kind of the sinker ball pitcher that Dyson is, that Ladendorf would be running to stay out of what could be another double play, which would be devastating to the A's. Called for a sinker away. As many double plays as the A's have hit into last night and tonight. I think that Bob Melvin might be saying, let's at least put him in motion in case there's a ground ball.
Ladendorf, good lead, excellent speed. And he runs. And Coco takes strike 3 called. Throw to second base is late. So Coco called out on strikes, and that's out number 2. The A's do get the tying run to second base, but again, 2 outs.
Coco did a good job of avoiding interfering with Torinos as Ladendorf was running. And this sinker, and Coco actually jumped back, which is a good idea, because had he fallen forward across the plate, see how he's there and then comes back. Torinos, as Coco leans back, but a perfectly thrown pitch, and kind of a 2-seamer, started inside, everything away, and then he started it in and got the little bit of a knee buckle from Coco. Couldn't pull the trigger. So can the A's come through with a 2-out hit? Carlos Beltran did it to tie it.
Joe West looking into the Rangers dugout.
I think they were thinking about the interference call. That's the only thing they could be looking at, or if the guys had said something. He's going to call Joe West over to see if there's interference, but Coco clearly backed up, did not even come close to the plate. And this is what we're talking about, because if he had fallen across the plate, but see, he starts and then comes back. And the fact that he backed off, I don't think that would constitute any interference. He actually got out of the way of Torinos, and he did not block his view and his throw to second base. And I think that's the only thing Bannister could have been talking about, I would think.
So here's Valencia. Chance to tie it. First pitch is low, 95 miles an hour from Dyson. Valencia has the only RBI in the game for the A's. It came on a bases loaded walk in the second inning. Setting up outside is Torinos. And the ball is off the plate, 2-0.
You'd like to see a home run, but a base hit would be perfect, especially with 2 outs.
And that one is right at the knees on the outside corner.
It is the way Torinos is setting up outside. If Dyson elevates, this is a perfect pitch. Outside corner, down, and a good pitch not to swing at, and may have been low and out of the strike zone. But if he elevates the fastball, stays outside, Valencia could put it in the right field seats. He has done that before.
And that's grounded, base hit right field. And this game is going to be tied. Danny Valencia comes through big time for the Athletics.
Well, they finally get the big hit, and it comes with Danny Valencia doing what he's been doing a lot of, and that's going to right field. Torinos comes up almost like he had a pickoff play at second base, as he came up ready to throw, but see where Odor is playing, and the hole between first and second, exactly the spot that Valencia hit it. Ladendorf on the move, on contact, and Danny Valencia driving in 2 and ties the game.
And there was not a full shift, but Odor was playing over towards second base quite a ways. So here's Stephen Vogt. Vogt takes low.
Well, that's a blown save for Dyson, which the A's will take. It was an infield hit, a ball really that, had it been handled by Moreland, we wouldn't be sitting here and talking about it, because that would have been the second out of the inning. But instead, it's a base hit, stolen base by Ladendorf, and a big 2-out hit by Danny Valencia.
And there's a line drive, and that's going to be a base hit. Valencia to second. He'll stop there. Stephen Vogt with a big hit.
Stephen Vogt with a pitch away from him, and again, just taking it up the middle. Good hitting by the A's in this inning with Valencia and now Stephen Vogt. It's a matter of not pulling the ball into the shift. You can see where Odor was playing in the outfield grass and trying to get Vogt to roll over on the pitch outside, but he, like Valencia, taking it up the middle. Valencia to right field, and some bullpen activity for the Rangers as pitching coach Greg Brocail out to visit just to give some time.
Kind of the ultimate test for a closer after he gets close to the save but then blows the save. You really have to, you know, stay in there. I mean, you got to get the outs now.
Well, ideally the A's want to give him a blown save and a loss.
Exactly.
But that's where it stands right now. It's going to kill it, gets loose. Remember, Matson pitched the 8th inning. He's the A's closer, but the A's do have opportunities there. They needed to get some work from Matson. He had a good bottom of the 8th inning. See if he goes out for the 9th.
This is Chris Davis. Davis got a good pitch to hit.
One thing about Dyson, he is easy with his delivery, but the velocity is very good, very high.
Davis 2 for 4 with 2 doubles.
Well, Valencia can get a big lead off second. They're not paying any attention to him. They want to hold their positions defensively. Really, from Valencia, all Valencia has to do is look at the second baseman because the shortstop Andrus is well off the bag at shortstop deep. So the only concern for Valencia is Odor, and he's not going to leave his position. So he can get a huge jump.
Missed again outside, 2-1. Swing and a miss. Again, keeping it away. Kept it away from Valencia, and he's been doing the same with Chris Davis.
Well, maybe Chris now will do what he did against Claudio and go to right center. That would score 2 probably. That's where hitters have to think, because in these kind of games, pulling a ball will benefit the hitter, not so much the pitcher making that pitch in that location to pull it.
Davis lays off again, away. 3-2, so little advantage for the Athletics because the runners can take off on the pitch. Three hits in the 9th inning, and the A's have tied it at 2. Runners go, and a swing and a miss. He took something off, and he got the strikeout. So the A's tied up, strand a pair. We're going to the bottom of the 9th. It's a 2-2 game. tight ball game here at Globe Life. Ryan Madson is back out there for his second inning of work. And for the Texas Rangers, they will have Odor, Moreland, and Andrus. 5, 6, and 7 in this Rangers lineup. Tyler Ladendorf, who pinch ran for Muncie, stays in the game at second base. So here comes Odor. Madson with just 14 pitches thrown in that 8th inning. A couple of strikeouts. Healy in on the grass. A step. Curveball, and it's a strike outside corner. Red Sox beat the Orioles 5-3 in Baltimore. So big win for the Red Sox. So they are tied for first place. 0-2. Cardinals leading the Astros 8-5, top of the 9th in Houston.
They had to be happy to see the one go up in the 9th inning for the A's. So A's will try to increase that if they can get through this bottom of the 9th.
Blue Jays beat the Yankees 12-6. Swing and a miss, a high hard one. So Odor strikes out.
And a high fastball, curveball first pitch, and then went upstairs with the aggressive Odor, and not surprising to see him swing at that pitch. The real surprising thing was to see him walk. That's Ryan Doe. That was in the 7th inning. That's in 3 Ks in succession.
Moreland holds up. The crowd tonight, 21,877. Right around the same number as last night. Rangers averaging just a shade under 34,000 per game this year. So a couple of light crowds for them the last 2 nights.
A lot of rain expected. Overcast days. Maybe they said it's going to rain. Didn't want to come out, but is the type of crowd you don't expect to see in Arlington.
Well, if you've been to this ballpark, there's even in low days, but even some nights where it is very warm and uncomfortable.
Right.
That has not been the case the last 2 nights. If you were going to come to this park to watch a game,
It's perfect.
you would have had perfect weather.
Yep.
2-2 now to Mitch Moreland. He's trying to end it.
Odor's trying to end it. He struck out. Moreland trying to do the same. Whether intentional or not, Madson throwing some high fastballs, which were good ones, and here comes Uncle Charlie.
That one, he just got a piece of it, fouled it right back to the screen.
Changeup.
Runs away. 3-2. Payoff pitch. Tapped back to Madson, who grabs it. So Moreland is out.
See, there's back-to-back changeups, guys. That's 2-0 came right back with the same pitch, and because it comes out of his hand the same, that's why it's been very impressive about Ryan Madson and his changeup. Because the hitter's at 3-2, and as hard as Moreland was swinging, like Odor, he got the changeup in back-to-back pitches and an easy ground out.
And that'll bring up Elvis Andrus. He's 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. A's have used, out of the bullpen anyways, just 2 pitchers tonight, Dahl and Madsen.
So we'll be coming into the 10th if it gets to the extra innings. Dyson pitched the 9th, gets a blown save. He's trying to take it into the 10th.
Straight away defense against Elvis Andrus. He sprays it around. Healy hugging the line pretty well at third. Couple steps closer to the line than he probably normally would be.
For a hitter who really doesn't hit many that direction, but just in case.
It's Mazzara. Three-one pitch is hit towards Simeon. Throws to first, and Madsen has a very nice 3-up, 3-down bottom of the 9th inning. So extra innings from Arlington. It's a 2-2 game. Series here in Arlington tomorrow. It'll be 4:30 with A's pregame live. 5:05 first pitch. Sean Manaea and Yu Darvish. That is your pitching matchup for Game 3 of the series. Again, tune in at 4:30. That's when our coverage starts. Of course, A's post-game live after the game. You get all the A's coverage every night. Also on Sportsnet Central. And the website, csncalifornia.com. There they are. Manaea on the left, Darvish on the right. They will square off tomorrow. Work to do tonight as we have reached extra innings. 2-2 game. Eibner's going to hit for the first time, and he's going to do it against Keone Kela. 6th pitcher of the night for the Texas Rangers.
And he's got a good fastball, good curveball. Right over the top for both of his pitches, the two that he likes to use the most.
First at bat for Eibner. Fouls it to the screen. So Eibner, Alonso, Simeon. And that's John Axford for the A's. Close pitch. Eibner's able to check his swing. Almost went around.
Starts and could have gone either way. The A's way, though.
Good breaking ball, and that's Kella's pitch right there.
And to throw it 2-1, obviously missing, and it goes to 3-1. Fastball usually the pitch, but he has that much confidence to throw it 2-1 and get the strike call, and not many hitters are going to swing that good of a curveball. Oof. This is good, if not better than the previous one.
Kella thought it was a strike.
Whoa. I think Eibner might have thought it was a strike. What was wrong with it?
Wow.
It crosses the plate much different than where Torino's caught the ball.
It was right down the middle.
Joe wasn't looking for a curveball, though. Shouldn't really matter for the umpire.
And Eibner takes advantage, and he gets the walk. Joe West is a very good umpire. Sometimes they miss one. A's 5-3 in extra innings. Rangers 4-5. So I got 8 walks received by A's hitters.
So do I. How many have scored? Maybe this one.
Big 0. Yeah, this would be a good time to score that one.
And especially to get a gift call of a ball on a 2-2 curveball, which split the heart of the plate.
Not close. 1-1 to Yonder Alonso, who's 0 for 3. Ground out, 2 strikeouts, and a walk for Alonso. Simeon and Healy to follow. Mariners leading the Angels 3-1, bottom of the 4th inning in Anaheim.
They're paying attention to this game also.
Yes, they are. Mariners 5.5 back of Texas. Missed again, 2-1.
Well, that was off the plate. Fans maybe thinking about the curveball that wasn't called a strike, but that clearly was off the plate. Fans obviously didn't see it, couldn't see it. Well, they threw a 2-1 curveball to Eibner for a strike.
Off the end of the bat, looped foul right below us. So it's been Harold, Claudio, Diekman, Jeffress, Dyson, Kella. Tony Barnett and Matt Bush, the only 2 relievers that have not been used for the Rangers. And now it's 3-2.
Again, a little slow to the plate, in which might be thinking about running Eibner as well. And again, 3 double plays last night, 2 tonight. I'm trying to stay out of another one.
So we'll see if Eibner takes off. He does. And the pitch, foul back.
Ball 4. Too close to take, maybe. Pretty good pitch for Chirinos to throw, but Eibner got a huge jump.
So we'll do 3-2 again. The runner goes, and a ball is lined right field, corner fair. Here comes Eibner. Wash is waving him home. He hits the bag at third, and he will score. A's lead.
Kipe to finally score a walk.
Yep.
And that's the walk to lead off the inning. That may be a gift walk. But on the second 3-2 pitch, Alonso crushed it down the right field line. Here comes your four-seam fastball down lower. The previous pitch, it was fouled. The pitch was up. Eibner on the move, sees it's down in the corner, and he is able to score easily. Ball coming quickly back to Mazara, but no chance to throw out Eibner, who runs well. And a big two-out, or a double by Alonso, and the A's still have a chance to add on.
I would say an important extra run to get.
Where the Rangers are.
And now it's 0-2.
And Eibner has good speed, and once he looked back and he saw the ball was down in the corner, so figured he's going to be sent, and he was, and made it easily.
0-2 to Simeon, and a curve, and Simeon swings and misses. Well, he's unable to get Alonso over.
A good curveball. It stayed up, but just trying to make contact, could not do it.
So with one out, Healy steps up. Axford is ready in the A's bullpen. Line drive, base hit left field. Yonder Alonso digging around third, and he will score. It's 4-2 Athletics. Healy gets his second hit of the night, and it's a big one.
Kipe, did you see as Eibner scored, Healy was talking to him, maybe to ask him about his curveball, ask him about his pitches. And remember, this young man Healy seeing his pitches for the first time, and what's he do? Gets a curveball, stays back, hit a curveball earlier. That was against Harrow way back in the second inning. Hit a curveball for a base hit, gets another curveball this time, and drives in a big run.
Still only one out. Here's Tyler Ladendorf. Ladendorf shows bunt. Pitch is called a strike. First at bat for Ladendorf. He was a pinch runner. He scored the tying run in the ninth inning. Bunted, and it is a beautiful bunt. Perfect bunt by Ladendorf. Give him a hit. As good of a bunt as you will see. It just rolled out there perfect, stayed right on the grass.
Remember, this grass goes pretty close to the foul line, so once he got it down, he's running head down all the way, but dragged it, and you're right, he could not have rolled it out there any more perfectly. Stays on the grass, dead in the ball. Just let it roll and stop. So great hit, great bunt by Ladendorf. Great thing about him with his speed. It's an 0 for 19 he snaps. That's a perfect time to do it. Puts another runner in scoring position. His speed, you get a ball to the gap, he'll score from first.
So the A's had 5 hits through the first 8 innings. They've had 6 total in the last 2 innings. Mathletics tells me that that is 11 hits for the game.
That's good.
That's all I got.
That's
if
good.
I go any deeper into Mathletics, it'll start to get a little weird. Coco taps it slowly, Odor, and he missed it, and it rolls past him. Healy thought about trying for home. He decides to stay. I think Odor was thinking about tagging Ladendorf, and that obviously messed him up a little bit, and he just missed it.
Well, really, if you look back to what Alonso did, he tried to do too much, and sometimes it's better. This would have been the second out if he gets the out. Instead, he tried to maybe get the lead runner or turn a double play, take one out. He hurried, trying to tag. You're right. He tried to get Ladendorf and was going past him, and he's lucky. At least he stopped the ball enough that he had to stop at third.
So it's an error. And now the bases are loaded with one out for Danny Valencia, who already has 2 RBIs tonight, including a base hit with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. And that drove home Ladendorf, and that tied it up. So the Rangers were 1 out away from a 2-1 win.
Well, Rangers are playing for 2 for Danny Valencia. Just try to do the same thing he did in the 9th inning. Pitching him away, just take it that way.
And the 0-2 curveball kept going to it, and Valencia strikes out. Just could not lay off that big overhand curve.
Well, it's been a good one for him. He stayed with it and got the job done. He was looking for the strikeout that he got.
24 pitches for Kella, and Ray, interesting. Kella on Saturday night threw 37 pitching. Remember, he had elbow surgery early in this year. Missed the first couple months. And the Rangers obviously were not going to use him Sunday, and they did not. I think he was off limits yesterday as well. It's a swing by Stephen Vogt. 0-1 the count. Healy at third, Landorf at second, and Crisp at first. Swing and a miss. Stephen Vogt tonight is 1 for 4. He walked in the first, singled in the 9th. Same pitch. This time, Vogt was able to get a piece of it.
Well, that surgery he had might have been a result of the great curveball he throws.
Throws a lot of them.
He throws a lot. He throws them hard and right over the top. I mean, it's pretty good mechanics for his curveball. And he is confident to throw it anytime. Now he's throwing out of frustration.
Yep, I agree.
This is just rearing back and throwing hard, and upset that he's given up a couple of runs.
He's about to throw his 30th pitch. Tony Barnett gets up. Axford try to save it. And strike 3 called on a breaking ball. So when it's all said and done, the A's scored twice on 3 hits. So we head to the bottom of the 10th. A's 4, Rangers 2. the top of the 10th. 4-2. So bottom of the 10th. Axford in. Be Mazzara, Chirinos, and Stubbs. It's the 3 hitters. If anybody were to get on, it would be Ian Desmond. You don't want to get to that part of the order. So that's the job for John Axford. He's got a couple of saves this year. Plenty of experience as a closer, so he's been in these spots before.
I think that's the important thing for the A's and Sean Doolittle. It's good to hear that he is throwing some, and it'd be nice to get him back. The A's would get back to having 3 closers, essentially 3 in the bullpen. Of course, Ryan Doyle has also saved a couple of games. Right now, it's up to John Axford to try to complete this big comeback by the Athletics. 1 in the 9th to tie, 2 in the 10th to take the lead.
Here's Nomar Mazzara. Mazzara taken all the way, and the first pitch from Axford is a strike. Mazzara hit a deep fly ball to center field in the 7th. Swing and a miss. There's that Axford curveball.
Good job by Ryan Matson. 2 solid innings. Maybe some work in the 8th, and then pitches the 9th as well after the A's had tied it. It's 3 strikeouts in 2 innings.
And a chance for a win.
Yes, he does.
If Axford can get the save. Swing and a miss. He chased a pitch well out of the strike zone. And a good start for Axford here in the bottom of the 10th.
Well, there's a cut fastball that he left it upstairs, but the aggressive Mazzara, he's been watching Odor swing, and he tried to go up the ladder and get this one as well. Could not. Capping your point about him Mazzara taking the first pitch strike, and talking about the leadership qualities of Adrian Beltre, that may be something that talk to the youngster and say, hey, you know, your run doesn't mean anything. Make him throw a strike. And Axford did, but the fact that the youngster took it and then went a little wild and swinging after that.
Chirinos, this is his 4th at bat. Pitch there right at the knees. Dull went an inning and a 3rd out of the bullpen. Matson the 2 innings Ray talked about, and now Axford after Andrew Triggs. Let's not forget about him.
What a story.
5 2/3 innings tonight. Triggs 75 pitches. He was terrific. He left with a 1-0 lead. Dull gave up a hit to tie the game. Just a touch high on 3-1, and it's a 1-out walk.
That's only the 2nd walk the A's have given up tonight.
So that's going to be Jonathan Lucroy coming out of the dugout. So he'll hit for Stubbs. So Lucroy pinch hitting, Desmond on deck. Wasn't supposed to be easy. It never is here.
See those number of pinch hitting, and playing every day, you don't pinch hit a lot. .19 home runs, 61 runs batted in
for Jonathan Lucroy. Of those 19 home runs, 6 have come in a very short time with the Texas Rangers. Tried the same pitch, and this time Lucroy did not swing at it, and it's 1-1. Mariners still leading the Angels 3-1, top of the 5th in Arlington, in Anaheim. Excuse me. Getting late. Outfield defense is pushed around toward right center. Lucroy does a pretty good job of hitting the ball to all parts of the park.
It's almost like the A's are playing no doubles and trying to keep potential tying run. Get to second base.
Swing and a miss as Axford came right at Lucroy.
Throw a 97.
Teammates, right?
Exactly. I was going to say, he knows he can throw it this hard, and he could gear it up a little bit extra, knowing that on the 2-1 he's probably going to get his 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Two pitch outside. Now it's 3-2. For the Rangers, you desperately want Desmond to hit. So would you send the runner?
I would say probably not.
I would say probably not.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to. I think they just say you'd rather not strike him out, throw him out.
He's not running, and it's fouled straight back. Good swing by Lucroy. That ball was down a little bit.
I think in these situations, when you have a tying run at the plate, you want to keep him there. If you hit a ground ball, then you tip your hat, you get the double play, and game over. But Jonathan Lucroy looking, fastball, got it just a little bit late. The more fastballs he sees, the better hitter he becomes, especially in a pinch hitting role. Fastball away.
And it's high. Walked it. Back-to-back walks. So now it's the big boppers. Desmond. After Desmond, it's Beltran.
Right now, Ryan Healy's base hit is huge because that gives the A's the extra run, and with this part of the batting order coming up, they decide to talk about it.
So DeShields is the pinch runner at first. He is the final player on the bench for the Rangers.
That's one of those things you worry about players when you have to. Right now, Jeff Bannister at his club trying to at least tie the game and speed at first. And he is getting a huge lead off first base. DeShields is.
Man, that one missed somewhere. And he's got to get a big lead off first.
Yes,
that could extend an inning.
Yep. And the fact that Alonso's way off the bag, he can go as far as Alonso, and he's doing that.
Desmond is 1 for 4. He singled back in the 8th inning.
And the way the outfield is playing right now, they will not cut off the ball to the gap. And that means that with DeShields' speed, if a ball is hit in the gap, and we have seen Desmond hit the ball very, very strongly to right center field.
inside 2-0.
He stayed with the fastball, and that's the pitch he continues to throw, and so far has not been able to throw it for a strike. Gut wrenching, man.
Missed again. 3-0.
I don't even know that he's up there to do anything but take. Almost like he's taking a strike because he's not been overly aggressive in this plate appearance.
Torino at second. DeShields the tying run at first. And that's a strike.
High strike called by Joe West, and again taken all the way was Desmond.
Desmond took that one. He'll be ready on 3-1. Strike right at the knees. Good pitch by Axford.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Desmond twice now has walked to first base, almost like he doesn't want to swing the bat in this appearance. And he's an aggressive hitter, but that's 5 pitches that he's taken all 5 twice. Thinking it's ball 4. Those have been fastballs, and when he throw him a cutter and try to get him to be overly aggressive now.
Three-two pitch. Outside, and they're loaded.
I hate to say it, but I think this could have gone either way.
Could have been a strike.
It could have been a strike, and I bet it was called low. And the fact that he called the 3-1 a strike makes you wonder why that wasn't called a strike.
That's Sepchinski, the left-hander, getting loose. Here's Carlos Beltran, switch hitter, batting left-handed. 3 for 11 in his career against Axford. First pitch, line drive, center field, base hit. 1 run scores. Here comes DeShields. He's going to score, and the Rangers have tied it. Beltran jumped on the first pitch, looked like a hanger, and he just ripped it into center field. He's got a 4-hit night.
Well, it was a hanging curve, and after, I mean, he waited back on it, actually. Waited back and got it done. And you talk about a situation for the skipper. I mean, obviously 3 walks and a base hit ties it. And he's going to go. Was it Sepchinski who's losing?
Yep.
And that's against Beltran, or Beltran, the right-hander.
So the Rangers storm back and tie it at 4, and they're still batting. Axford, and then Carlos Beltran with the big base hit. So it's a 4-4 game, still only one out. The winning run is Ian Desmond at second base. So Subjinski comes in, and he's going to face Beltran.
And Kipe, to your point about DeShields the last position player, which means that Odor follows Beltran and Moreland follows Odor. Would he intentionally walk Beltran? They're going to put him on.
That means they're going to put the winning run at third with one out.
Because I could not believe he was going to bring in Subjinski to face Beltran. But, I mean, you have an aggressive hitter actually in Odor. But I'd say that if Axford could not get the job done, really this is the only move that Bob Melvin could make. You don't like to see it, but I'm not surprised that he's doing it when he's bringing Subjinski in to face Beltran, or at least in the center.
I think a lot of it has to do as well with just watching John Axford.
Exactly.
I mean, walking three and then hanging a pitch to.
Oh yeah.
So at that point.
Yeah. So you
got to get him out of there.
You let him face Beltran, who's also aggressive. So, I mean, it's really probably on the only move that Bob Melvin can make. And he made it. Now it's up to Subjinski to. He wants to go halfway. That means if it's a ground ball, I mean, really the winning run's at third. So the halfway that he's talking about, but you know, it's up to Subjinski right now to throw strikes, and you're looking at a very aggressive hitter in Odor.
The one thing this does do, Ray, on the counter argument, it puts a lot of pressure on your pitcher.
Absolutely, and the catcher too, and the catcher, because you have the go-ahead run at third, and Subjinski likes to throw the big sweeping breaking ball.
First pitch to Odor, and it hit him. Wow. And that's the ball game. So Subjinski hits Odor up and in. Odor trots to first. Desmond comes home. And believe it or not, that's how the ball game ends. So this one hurts. A's fight back, but the Rangers score 3 times in the bottom of the 10th inning. 4 walks, a single, and that hit better. And that's how
Subjinski likes to go inside with the sinker, and he went up too far.
So Odor will take that RBI. So the Rangers have been doing it all year. This is the 38th come from behind win this year, and this was a big one. They score 3 in the bottom of the 10th and stun the A's by a final score of 5-4. So a very disappointing finish for the Athletics here in Arlington. Game took 3 hours and 40 minutes in front of 21,877. 5-4 final. Rangers win it. You've been watching A's baseball on CSN California, part of the NBC Sports Group. Don't go away. A's post-game live starts right now.